of the Champions League. Well, they will keep fighting.
Yeah, I think it would have been an incredible achievement if we can do it. There's so many twists and turns that could happen that we can't transport ourselves there. All we can look to do is try and win the game. I know that sounds a little bit dull for your headlines, but it's the reality of where we are. So we have to get our focus right. We can't be distracted by what's happening elsewhere. I think to be here with some kind of destiny in our hands, maybe not the destiny that we wanted, but European football still in our hands. I think, I don't want to be perceived to be negative, but I think we'd have taken that, and I think that's how we have to think now anyway. I don't think thinking anything other is helpful. So we can control what we can control. We can control a performance. We can give everything we can to try and win. We respect our opponents. I think they're a very good team. I think they showed us that in Milan. We worked so hard to get into this position in the first place. We gave everything last year to try and achieve European football. We don't want to give it away lightly. So no, our intention on behalf of me, the players, the coaching staff, is to do everything we can to try and win the match.
Eddie Howe with Newcastle United's approach to this crucial crunch Champions League group match. It'll be live here on BBC Radio Newcastle, kicking off in about 20 minutes time. Good evening again from Matthew Raisbeck alongside Steve Watson and John Anderson, as always, for the full match live as the two teams continue their warm-up in what are now dry but chilly conditions under the lights at St James's Park. The two teams then each have a single change to them, and we'll start with Newcastle United as we recap the lineups. Martin Dubravka is fine, is fit, is well, plays in goal, despite Eddie Howe suggesting yesterday that there could be a problem and a doubt over the Slovakians' participation. The change comes up front, where Callum Wilson starts his second start in the Champions League, and he replaces Alexander Isak, who's on the bench. So it's Dubravka, Trippier, Lascelles, Schär, Livramento. Livramento's first Champions League start at home. He played in Dortmund and in Paris. Miley, Bruno, Joelinton, Almiron, Gordon and Wilson. That's the 11. The bench is Karius, 17-year-old academy goalkeeper Adam Harrison, Dummett, Isak, Hall, Byrne and Longstaff. We'll bring Steve Watson in a second, but John Anderson, looking at that team again, only the one change, but a bench and a set of substitutes that are stronger and more experienced, even though there's only 7 players on the bench compared to Milan, who have 10. It's better than it was a week ago, and they are gradually getting big names and bodies back.
Yeah, anything would have been better than what they had a week ago. You know, there was still two goalkeepers on there. Isak's the really only offensive player that's on there. You've got Dan Bourne, you've got Lewis Hall, you've got Paul Dummett. Defensive-minded players. Sean Longstaff, obviously that midfield player. But it is getting better. It is getting there. It's good to see some of the walking wounded back, but it's a stronger bench than we've seen. And it's unusual to see him not name a full bench as well. You know, we've seen it in the past where he's named young boys on the bench. He's named 3 goalkeepers on the bench just to make the numbers up. But this time he's named a reduced bench. But it's good to see senior players making their way back.
And Steve Watson, they will probably look to the bench later on and will need some of those players. So having Longstaff back fit and playing at the weekend, Isak, who started a lot of games after coming back from injury, and maybe even Dan Burn, an experienced player and a big presence in the Newcastle squad and at the club, is really important for Eddie Howe.
Yeah, I think the signature when we've been doing really well is we've came out the traps. You know, we've came out the traps really quickly. We've scored early. We've put pressure on teams early, and you know, the amount of games that we've had and the amount of games that the lads have been rolled out in constantly. But you know, getting that good start could be key. And then, as you see, you haven't necessarily got many players that can come on and offensively affect it, or you wouldn't have thought. But you have got players that could come on there and be absolutely solid and make sure we can hang on to what we got. So I think the start is really important.
AC Milan were beaten 3-2 by Atalanta away on Saturday. They twice came back in the match and then conceded a goal in the 95th minute to lose the game. Third in the Italian Serie A league at 9 points off the top spot, which is occupied by their bitter rivals Inter Milan. They've made one change, and it's the return of the talented Portuguese forward Rafael Leao, who comes in to replace Samuel Chukwueze. So AC Milan, who, like Newcastle, still have ambitions and possibilities tonight. They can go through Milan if they get a result here and the result in Dortmund goes their way. They line up like this: Mike Maignan in goal, the French international. Right back, Davide Calabria. Centre back is Fikayo Tomori, who is one yellow card away from a Champions League suspension, the former Chelsea player and England international. And then alongside him is Theo Hernandez, the French international, who is really a left-back playing inside, and it was his brother Lucas Hernandez who scored for Paris Saint-Germain here earlier in the season. And then at left-back for Milan tonight is Alessandro Florenzi, who was a Euro 2020 winner with Italy. In midfield, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who was brought in by Milan from Chelsea in the summer. The Dutch international Tiani Reinders, and Yunus Musa, 21-year-old former Arsenal Academy player. Milan signed him from Valencia for 20 million in the close season. Then the front three, Rafael Leao, as we've mentioned, we think he'll be on the left, with Christian Pulisic, a Champions League winner with Chelsea 2 years ago, and Olivier Giroud, still doing it. Olivier Giroud, Ando, at 37 years of age, and he's done it against Newcastle with some regularity. 9 goals against them when he was playing for both Arsenal and Chelsea. He's had some career and still at the top.
Yeah, he's a top player. You know, he's won everything that's to win in the game. You know, I said earlier on when Pridey was here that if he had had that extra yard of pace, he would have been the complete player probably. You know, he's a good centre forward. He's got a physical presence about him. He backs into people, he holds the ball up, brings people into the game well. And if you stick the ball in right areas from wide areas, you know, if you get the ball in a wide area and you stick the ball in the penalty area, he will go and attack it. He's exceptionally good in the air. And even at 37 years of age, he's still a handful.
Steve, looking at the AC Milan team, who do you think the biggest threats will be for Newcastle in terms of who their quality and star players are?
Well, I think obviously we've spoke about Giroud, but I think we've seen enough in the Premier League of on his day. Pulisic has got great ability, he's got great feet, he can do things that, you know, are very hard to predict. And it's the same with Leao. We just got to hope that we don't get them on one of the good days, and that, you know, with defence as a 4 can cope with that 3. And I think if that happens, I think we'll have more than enough to go the other direction. I think just seen Callum Wilson there, whereas the rest of the strikers were working on the finishing. Callum Wilson was working on balls being played into him with his back to goal there. As I said earlier, you know, I do think that'll be important tonight. But I think, as I say, I think coming into the game, as Ando says, you know, we've actually got we've got options now, and we've got to start well, and I think that's key tonight.
BBC Radio Newcastle will be bringing you Newcastle United against AC Milan live from St James's Park in just over 10 minutes. The Milan bench, by the way, 2 goalkeepers, Lapo Nava and Antonio Miranti. Then the outfield players, they've got 11 subs, not 10, compared to Newcastle 7. Yassine Adli, Luka Jovic, who you may remember from Real Madrid a few years ago, Noah Okafor, who is an international teammate of Fabian Schär's with Switzerland and a forward player, Samuel Chukwueze, the man who drops out of the team tonight, Tommaso Pobega, Rade Krunic, Chaka Traore, Clinton and Siala Makengo, and Davide Bartasaghi. That's how they look. One change apiece. Newcastle, Wilson for Isak, Byrne back on the bench. So the picture then in Group F is one that is not set and certain and not complete. The only thing we know for definite is that Borussia Dortmund are through, and they'll either go through as group winners or runners-up. They currently top the group, Dortmund with 10 points from their 5 games. Then it's Paris Saint-Germain on 7. Newcastle and Milan both have 5, but Newcastle currently in 3rd. Milan bottom of the group. Another reminder of the permutations. It's both simple and complex at the same time, because Newcastle know that if they win, they have a chance of going through. But even if they don't win, European football is not necessarily gone from their season. They will progress, United, to the last 16 of the Champions League if they win and Paris Saint-Germain fail to beat Dortmund in Germany. That means that if Newcastle win and PSG lose, Newcastle will be ahead by a point. If Newcastle win and Paris Saint-Germain draw with Dortmund, it's the head-to-head record against PSG that will send United through. But if Paris Saint-Germain win in Germany, Newcastle cannot get into the knockout stage of the Champions League. They will finish 3rd, Eddie Howe's team, and enter the Europa League knockout playoff round if they avoid defeat tonight against Milan. That's kind of a minimum if they avoid defeat. They'll also go into the Europa League if they win and Paris Saint-Germain win. But if Milan are victorious here, they could still go through in the Champions League. And if Milan get 3 points, Newcastle United will be eliminated entirely from Europe. So they do have, I guess, a couple of chances, Ando, but the priority and the aim and the focus is to progress in the Champions League. That's what they strived to achieve, getting here, and they want to stay here.
Yeah, but it's out of their hands, Razor. You know, all we can do is go and win here tonight and hope that the result in Germany goes our way. On the evidence of what we've seen, you know, you would say that Dortmund that most definitely have enough to see PSG off. You know, in both the games against PSG, we absolutely battered them here. They had an awful lot of the ball in Paris, but for me, they just played in front of us all the time. It was really, really comfortable to defend against because they just kept going from side to side, and all you do was just shuffle across, fill holes. They'd never look to get in behind, they never look to play balls down the sides. And we spoke about Dortmund earlier and how well they played against us and how much nous they had against. And I just think that Dortmund will have too much nous for them again tonight. You know, I think you look at the experience that Dortmund have got in there. I mean, Hummels in both the games that we played, was he 36, 37 years of age? He absolutely strolled through them games. He was absolutely magnificent. You know, he just positioned himself in the right areas. He read the game so well. And I think if they do the same tonight, they'll get a result against PSG, and it's up to us now to go and do the business here tonight.
Steve Watson, you were nodding your head there. Dortmund will want to win the group so that they are seeded for the last 16 of the Champions League, which they will do if they get at least a point tonight. So it's in their interests to get a positive result, and that could then help Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, for top clubs, for any club, but for top clubs especially, you know, winning's a habit. You know, they want to get into the habit of winning games and winning games and winning games. And Dortmund won't want to have any backward steps in this competition. They want people to take notice of them, to turn people's heads, and as you say, get the best possible season. So I fully expect Dortmund to go out and do exactly what they need to do. Whether they're good enough or not, football is football, isn't it? But we've saw enough in this competition to think that Dortmund have got more than enough to take care of Paris. We've just got to do our bit tonight and see what happens.
We're getting closer to the big kick-off. The noise is increasing. The volume levels are going up and up here at St James's Park. The black and white flags are out all around the ground, and at the Gallowgate end, a banner that says it's not beyond our wildest dreams because we did have wild dreams. Is that a Kevin Keegan quote?
Yeah, it's Keegan-ish, definitely.
Yeah, I think so. That's the part of the War Flags display tonight. Newcastle United then know what they have to do here, beating AC Milan to have hope of continuing in the Champions League. They also require a favour from Dortmund, but they have to do their bit here on Tyneside, and really tonight they need more moments like these.
Bellamy squares it, Shearer! Alan Shearer has scored yet another goal. Inter Milan 0, Newcastle United 1.
It's a goal, and Dan Burn, of all people, has scored in the Champions League.
Gillespie's got past his man, sends over the cross, Asprilla! Oh, what a wonderful goal! And the hat-trick for Tino Asprilla! But what a run by Keith Gillespie! He's the man getting the celebrations as well!
Kieran Trippier, Longstaff with a run. The ball has found him. Longstaff, it's goal! Sean Longstaff has made it 3. Oh, and you can barely believe what you're watching.
Livermenta's still going to the edge of the area, and then Almiron shoots the ball. Donnarumma's lost it, and it's into the net from Isak, and Newcastle take the lead.
And now Murphy could take on the shot. Fabian Schär with. Oh! That is some way to seal it.
Dyer, can he finish it? It's spilled. Bellamy follows in. It's yes! It's in the bottom right corner. Bellamy has done it, and the Champions League can still be on.
And the Champions League could still be on this season for Newcastle United. I don't know if it'll be as dramatic, Hando, as that night against Feyenoord in 2002, but it's gone down to a final game in a group stage again. So where, like 21 years ago, they were needing help in another match, so that there is some symmetry.
Yeah, you hope it doesn't go that late. You would like to think that it was all sorted out an awful lot earlier than that outcome was. But look, as I say, we can't really have any outcome on any say on what the outcome is in Germany. All we can do is look after ourselves, and by that I mean going and winning games, winning this game here, and all of a sudden, you know, if you were to get a couple of goals early here, and that PSG get to hear about that, all of a sudden the real pressure is on them, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and can they handle that type of pressure? On the evidence of what we've seen in the games we've played against them, you would say not.
The teams are in the tunnel. Also at the Gallagher end is a giant surfer flag and a famous image of Sir Bobby Robson with an umbrella. That's from Barcelona, I think, isn't it? From the 2002 Champions League campaign.
Did it
was
rain
rained
in Barcelona that night?
And it's in black and white, and a little nod to the last time they were at this point in a European campaign. Tonight they've got an opportunity to extend their run in continental competition. It could go one of 3 ways. Milan not out of it either. They travel to Tyneside with their own ambitions, their own agenda, but it is about what Newcastle United do, and any second now the two teams will be with us. The Champions League branding has been laid out across the top of the 2 dugouts with the club crests on, with a blue background. They'll walk through a blue Champions League arch, and then the black and white Champions League sphere with the white background and the black stars on is being held up by the ball boys in the centre circle. Newcastle fans are asked to bring black and white scarves tonight, and they're being swung around above the heads of thousands of supporters as the referee Danny Macaulay from the Netherlands leads the teams out. Jamal Lascelles and Davide Calabria, the 2 captains, behind him, and the teams line up. And once more St James's Park is going to hear that famous, iconic, stirring Champions League anthem. There's something about that music, isn't there, Steve Watson, that it just does something to fans, maybe players as well. You've stood there, you've listened to it, to take you back.
Yeah, there absolutely is. You know, I was standing there, you caught me there in the days. I was standing there grinning again. Yeah, you can't help but to be moved by nights like this. As I said earlier, you know, that's why you play football, and that's why you come and support football. Worked so hard as a team to get where we are tonight. You know, we're still in a fantastic position. As we said, it isn't in our hands, but we can only do what we do. To have got this far, you know, it's fantastic. But I've got a feeling this won't be the last time we hear that music.
Well, whether it's this season or at some point in the future, I don't think there'll be many who disagree with you. The players lining up for pre-match photographs. The squad all get together next to the club crest on the Champions League branding board on the pitch. Black and white stripes, black shorts and white socks. Dubravka in luminous yellow. AC Milan with the goalkeeper Maignan in orange, luminous orange, like the colour of highlighter pen. And the outfield players, I'm not quite sure what that kit is. And though it starts off pink and then it fades to sort of violet lavender, and then it's kind of blue on the shorts and the socks. It's a strange looking strip. It's rather distracting. Maybe that's the point.
Yeah, I went to watch the 19s game today, the UEFA Youth League game, and saw that strip firsthand, and it certainly didn't strike me as the typical AC Milan strip at all.
It doesn't strike you as a typical football strip, does it?
This is BBC Radio Newcastle. We're delighted to have John Anderson with us as usual, and Steve Watson, who played for Newcastle the first time they were in the Champions League. He is also here for the commentary, which we're bringing you live from a packed and passionate St James's Park. Milan are going to kick us underway. If they win, it could still happen, but even if they don't, their European dream this season is not necessarily over. It could be a night for a new Newcastle hero, and the game has got underway with Milan playing it back into their half of the field, and Jamal Lascelles winning it for Newcastle. Forwards to Lewis Miley in midfield. Joelinton tries to get away, gets a return ball from Anthony Gordon, and they're on the attack immediately in the first minute, up to the edge of the area. Milan regain possession. Joelinton with a sliding challenge and a foul on Davide Calabria. Whistle's gone. AC Milan free kick. Newcastle, by the way, kicking up the hill towards the Leazes end in the first half, from right to left as we look at the action. Tomori will take the free kick for AC Milan, semi-finalists last season, 7-time winners of the Champions League. Lascelles with a header away, forwards by the Italians, and behind it goes for a goal kick for Martin Dubravka, who takes his place in between the posts tonight after some doubt, never in doubt, over his availability. Wilson for Isak is the only Newcastle change. 1 minute and 20 seconds has been played, and a goal kick from Dubravka, who has played in the Champions League before for Zelina in Slovakia in 2010, right at the start of his career. Played in the group stage. Upfield it goes. Milan back to Maignan, and Gordon closes down Calabria, and just like he did against Paris Saint-Germain, after making a challenge, goes to the crowd with clenched fists and gets a reaction. A throw on the right side for the visitors. Giroud with a header on. Bruno Guimaraes intercepts. Milan win it back. Livramento, good challenge. Newcastle throw on halfway. Stefano Pioli, the Milan boss, was out as soon as the ball went for the Newcastle throw, to give some encouragement to his players. Newcastle kept possession from the throw-in, and Lascelles to Trippier, down the right wing for Almiron, and back to Trippier, 25 yards out. There's runners into the box. Almiron here to Bruno, back again, still in the wide right position, whipped into the middle. Oh, a sliced clearance, which is caught by Maignan in the 6-yard box, who he then collides with Callum Wilson, and the referee, Danny McAlee, tells them to leave it.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a word with Wilson, he's had a word with Joe Linton. This stop-start will suit Milan an awful lot more than it will us. The fact that little niggly free kicks doesn't allow you to get any momentum up.
Giroud with a header away from Cher. Livramento on, Gordon with a flick, Wilson chasing, gives Tomori a shove, the defender gets it clear, it hits Livramento, and then Giroud with a touch, but Joe Linton collects on the left side of Newcastle's half. Bruno tidy in midfield, back to Tino Livramento, who's now in the centre circle, drops it off for Lewis Miley. A good pass, a ping from Miley over the head of a Milan player to Trippier.
See, Trippier can get into those positions, and now he won't track him in there.
Lascelles with a cross-field ball to Gordon on the left wing, takes it down really nicely, cuts inside, gets away, Gordon, oh, pulled down by Christian Pulisic. Referee was letting it go, and then the whistle went, and it's a free kick. Steve Watson in a great position.
Yeah, we've had that quick start. You know, Milan have had possession 2 or 3 times and almost just try to turn us and get themselves up the pitch. But I totally agree with Ando. I think there's a fine line between disrupting their counter-attacks with fouls to stop them from breaking on us, but also a fine line between giving silly fouls away. That's going to give them a breather.
BBC Radio Newcastle in the 5th minute. Kieran Trippier is eyeing this one up. Could be an option for Fabian Cher as well. And they've both done the business with a dead ball for Newcastle before. The wall is just behind the 18-yard line. It's very central, and it's going to be Trippier or Cher. Trippier's gone for it, and it clears the crossbar, but not by much.
Yeah, it was never dipping enough, was it?
A little rangefinder for Kieran Trippier. He's hit the bar with a couple, hasn't he, in the last few matches. That time off target. Milan out from the back. Bruno wins the ball on the near touchline and carries it towards halfway and passes it back to Dubravka, a couple of yards up from the 18-yard line. Cher for Newcastle to Livramento, closed down by Pulisic. 2 ex-Chelsea boys. And now it's at the feet of Dubravka. He's got Cher to the left, Lascelles to the right. The skipper has the ball. Into the box to Dubravka. Milan not pressing. Loftus-Cheek from midfield, the one who then makes a run towards the ball, which Newcastle still have, and it's Cher back to the keeper. Dubravka clips it through the middle. Almiron goes beyond Wilson, who flicks on. Almiron chasing, but there's cover at the back, and an offside flag anyway from the assistant on the far side, who is Jan de Vries. On the near side, it's Hessel Steegstra. And by the way, the VAR, they're all Dutch, the officials tonight. Rob Dieperink is the video assistant referee. Danny McAlee, who was England's Euro 2020 semi-final ref, the official in the middle. Trippier making good progress down the right side. Wilson in the box. Tried to cross it, and it's blocked by Tiani Reinders, Dutch midfielder. Throw for United. Trying to get Almiron away. Out for another throw off Florenzi. Cleared by the Milan defence, and there's a foul against Lascelles. And quite a reaction from Giroud, who's on the deck and looked like he was in quite some distress there, Steve.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got both.
It's Jamal Lascelles' forearm rather than a headbutt. I think you'll find he'll be okay in a few seconds, Matty. And I think the same way as that Loftus-Cheek went down earlier, I think that's kind of a game plan, just to buy themselves a bit of time, because Newcastle have started at a rapid pace again.
Listen to BBC Radio Newcastle. Steve Watson and John Anderson with us tonight. Pulisic with the ball back down the Milan right, and out it goes. The referee just telling the visiting skipper Davide Calabria to give the ball back to Newcastle. He was holding on to it. Lascelles to Trippier, 0-0. Miley tried to get a return ball from Bruno. There's a foul. Far side of midfield. They've taken a quick free kick, but they will be ordered to do it again. The foul was on Miley, wasn't it?
Yeah.
After he played the ball.
Yeah, Lau on Miley.
Into Cher in the centre circle. To the feet of Livramento, 35 yards out, gives it to Gordon, and then goes on a forward run. Gordon takes it across midfield, which he does so well, and that's a ball from Gordon into the corner, but there's too much on it, and Kieran Trippier applauds.
Yeah, idea was right. Does that so well, picks it up on the byline and just cuts inside. He's got such quick feet. Idea was right, pass was just overhit.
Yeah, we've benefited really well from that in particular. Gordon coming across the pitch, Miggy leaving the line, taking the full-back with him, and then Trippier with assisting.
Lascelles wins the ball back with a challenge on Giroud in the middle of the Milan half. It's a Newcastle throw far side. Still looking for the opening goal on BBC Radio Newcastle. Cher for Joelinton on halfway. Back to Cher, middle of Newcastle territory. Then a cross-field ball, which Trippier is unable to take down, and it's out, and it's going to be a Milan throw. Ball is in the hands of Alessandro Florenzi. Lobs it into the feet of Giroud. They look down the left wing for Rafael Leao. Kieran Trippier goes the other side, wins the ball back and plays it to Dubravka. All well defended by Trippier. It's with the goalkeeper again, and now Cher on the left side in the Newcastle penalty box. To Dubravka now in the 6-yard box, closed down by Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and straight out of play off Dubravka. Milan have taken the throw, and Rafael Leao threatening to break into the box. Trippier, good defending. Bruno gets involved, and then Joelinton has it. It's all crowded in the midfield area. Almiron clipping it up to halfway, and he was caught after he played it. And the referee, who's pretty much a no-nonsense character, is telling the Milan players.
Milan have done quite well in this opening 10 minutes because they've killed the game whenever they can. They've taken a little bit of the sting out of it.
Trippier now on the right, an angled ball which is intercepted by Loftus-Cheek. Bruno was making the run but couldn't get there. And it's up to Giroud. Cher at his back. The ball inviting Calabria to get involved. Gordon with a foul in the back, knocking Calabria to the floor. Newcastle probably needed to break up the play there, and they've done so. Milan free kick in the centre of the United half. Pulisic and the Italians with a chance to attack for the first time, really. It's with them just in front of the centre circle, given away to Almiron. An opportunity to go, and Gordon is the one to go from Almiron's ball down the left. Wilson far side, Bruno in the centre. Gordon to Bruno, just outside the box. Joelinton with a touch, and then a shot which takes a big deflection, and
keeper's done well.
The keeper's prevented a corner just and conceded a throw. Worth a try, I suppose, from Joelinton's point of view, but blocked. And they take the throw. Trippier to Almiron, back again, going further back with the ball. Lascelles now in front of the halfway line. Cher is free inside. Lascelles comes forwards, gives it to Miley. First time around the corner to Almiron. Into Bruno in a deeper midfield position. Touched on to Joelinton. Back through for Bruno. It might open up here. And it's a great sliding tackle from Milan to win the ball back. And now a quick break as they try and get away through Rafael Leao. Cher, what? Ooh, almost came away with it. Going to say what a good tackle. Milan have kept it alive, and then Pulisic behind at the near side.
That's what we've got to be careful of. You throw bodies forward, all of a sudden they break. They break with a little bit of pace and get bodies forward. On this occasion, Pulisic couldn't make the best of it. It's a poor cross in the end.
0-0 at St James's Park. What do you think of the opening exchanges, Steve Watson?
I think we've started at a great pace. You know, we've started every throw-in. We've took as quickly as possible. But Ando's right. You know, within one pass there, they were up the pitch and on the counter. We talked about Giroud's quality with his back to goal. You know, that's a really good centre forward play. He didn't take a touch. One touch, knew where the support was, and we just have to be mindful of that. As much as we need to score, we've got 90 minutes to win the game.
Trippier with a good header on from the goal kick. Almiron was chasing, and then it went out off Theo Hernandez, who then didn't give Newcastle a ball back. He gets a telling off and nothing more, but they have a throw on the right high up, which they've taken. Now into the box from Trippier. Almiron to Joelinton. Tries to get the shot away, and it's a really weak and tame dink into the hands of Maignan, who rolls it out to the right side to Fikayo Tomori. Tomori played against Newcastle in the Championship season with Brighton, and now he faces them in the Champions League with Milan. Pulisic on the right. Oh, good win by Livramento, and Gordon up to Wilson's got a defender coming the other side, and it's put out for a throw on the Newcastle left. Livramento really sharp.
Great tackle. Pulisic waited. Livramento's in, nice and sharp, wins the ball back.
Lascelles back to Cher, almost lost it to Giroud, and then Fabien Cher to Jamal Lascelles, who was on the bench in Milan, but he's started every Champions League match Newcastle have had since. Cher thinking about his next pass, and it's back to the keeper, away from Giroud. 0-0. Lascelles to Miley. Almiron takes it back with his first touch, now looks forwards. Livramento making a move into space. It's square to Cher. Eddie Howe watching on from the touchline. Gordon in a central position with a touch and a pass to Lascelles, near to the centre spot. On to Almiron. Oh, they've taken two Milan players out with that ball, and it's Joelinton up to the edge of the penalty area. Wide left to Livramento. Two in the middle. Gordon edge of the box. Gets it back almost from Almiron, but it's intercepted. Lascelles to Miley. And Trippier to Bruno. Wide right to Miley. Back to Trippier first time. Good football. Almiron and Trippier combine, but it goes out from Almiron's return pass.
Yeah, you just feel as if we're trying to force things a little bit. Just got to be a little bit more patient.
th minute at St James's. The Milan throw. Newcastle regain possession. Joelinton to Almiron. Could be a free kick. Referee says no. And the visitors play on and work it out to the left side of midfield to Yunus Musa. And then a challenge from Newcastle sees them win the ball back from a throw-in. Which Trippier takes. It's Lascelles. Inside to Cher. Livramento's tucked in. Gordon occupying the wide position. Into Joelinton, back to Gordon. Now comes into the centre. Turns on the outside with his right. Miley available in the centre circle. Gets it under pressure. Back to Cher. And Trippier making the run, and Cher aims it towards him. Trippier's first touch. Then loses the ball, then wins it back. up to Bruno on the corner of the area, to Almiron on the right wing as Newcastle keep this attack going. Bruno back into the centre. Cher, might he do what he did against Paris Saint-Germain? He's had a try and it's too high.
Yeah, he's tried to whip it, hasn't he? From that distance, you just want to put your foot through it. Tried to bend one, always too high.
BBC Radio Newcastle with Maignan to take the Milan goal kick, and Watts and Almiron, Gordon, Wilson up at the edge of the penalty area. The ball beats both Lascelles and Giroud. Cher hooks it away from the edge of Newcastle's box, and Miley makes the tackle on halfway, but Milan have it again, and they're on the move here forwards through Reinders. And it's Rafael Leao into the box, cleared by Livramento. Wilson being held by Musa. No foul, offside against Milan from the forward ball.
The Cells will be delighted with that because his touch is poor. Gets away from him. Thankfully for him, the flag goes up.
Fabian Cher behind the free kick. A couple of paces in front of the Newcastle box. Wilson in the centre circle, just behind, just ahead of halfway. Now drops into a deeper position next to the referee. Bruno and Cher take the free kick. Loftus-Cheek slips and Cher plays it to Livramento. Inside from Gordon to Bruno. Does a full turn. And then what a pass to Trippier. This is good from United. Kieran Trippier rolling it through. Joelinton has a chance. Oh, and it's cleared away from in front of goal. And somehow scrambled behind for a corner. It looked as though Almiron just had a tap in from Joelinton's ball inside, and Milan survive.
What a clearance that is. Should be a goal. I'll tell you what, should be a goal kick as well. That's a great clearance.
Oh, how close was that?
Great defending.
Here's the corner from Trippier, outswinger, and a header away by Giroud. Gordon keeps it in on the far side. Almiron so close to a tap in, but Tomori with some incredible defending. Bruno from halfway has to go back to Dubravka. I think a lot of St James's, Steve Watson, thought that was in.
That was absolutely tremendous defending, but you know, I think that's the way we're going to break Milan down. The way that Milan are playing, certainly when they've got the ball themselves, they're inverting the right back, so they're becoming a back three. So I think an overlapping fullback like Trippier did there, or Livramento on this side, I think that's where we're going to get most joy, and it will nearly prove to be the case there.
It's BBC Radio Newcastle in the 21st minute. Lewis Miley, challenge from Yunus Musa, and a Newcastle throw on halfway. This is Cher. Down the right wing to Almiron. Miley goes beyond. Could get it from Almiron, although Paraguayans held on to it for a while, then given it to Miley. Back again to Almiron. Miley into the corner, turns, keeps possession. Almiron and Bruno, it's quite tight out there. They still have it, 0-0 the score, and then Bruno out of play as he looked for Trippier.
Playing in such short areas. You've got 4 players in a 5-yard radius there. Ball needed to come out. You know, they played it 1, 2, 3. It then needed a switch. Area's just too tight.
Milan throw into the corner, then back to the keeper. Left-footed swinging ball, swept out to the near side, kept in on the slide by Calabria, and out off Livramento. Cry of Tino for for Livramento from the Newcastle fans as Calabria, the Milan captain, just plays it straight out on the near side. Livramento has the ball. Joelinton gets it on his chest, played it against Giroud, then Bruno is first to it, beating Loftus-Cheek, back to Lascelles. Wilson on the shoulder of the last defender, Tomori, with that incredible clearance for Kayo Tomori to prevent Almiron from scoring. As far as we know, still 0-0 in Germany, by the way, between Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain. If there is a goal or anything meaningful happening, we will let you know as soon as we find out. Goalless there, goalless here on BBC Radio Newcastle. Yunus Musa's got away from Kieran Trippier and has got an option to the left. Plays in Rafael Leao.
Oh,
goal kick.
Chance, big chance. That's a poor effort.
It's the closest Milan have come. It's their only effort, really. And he's opened up his body, tried to bend it around Dubravka, but it's missed the...
Kieran Trippier's got to be
post.
stronger in that tackle as well. He's got done in the tackle again, Trippier. All of a sudden they broke. They have the overlap on that, on their left, our right. Just didn't get enough bend on the shot. Well, got no bend on the shot at all. Space.
Joelinton, left side of central midfield, looking for Almiron, intercepted and cleared by Florenzi. Now Trippier with Rafael Leao, and he's recovered. The Newcastle right back to push the ball away. Lascelles up to Wilson with his back to goal. Like you talked about in the warm-up, Steve Watson holding it up and finding the pass, the layoff back to Livramento, into Bruno, man on from Giroud. Livramento again, just inside the Milan half, 0-0. And Cher bringing it up towards the centre circle. And there's space, there's absolutely loads of it for Trippier, who controls it with his right foot on the far touchline. The pass down the line to Almiron. He's got two defenders with him, heading into the corner, Miguel Almiron. And it stayed in play, but it's with Milan, and it's out of Almiron for a throw.
Yeah, as I said earlier, it's a real game of cat and mouse, because if Leao's going to constantly stay up the pitch, it's really difficult for us to just keep bombing forward, because that happens. You know, if they get a quick counter-attack, they find Leao or they find Pulisic in space. So we really have to be careful. If we're attacking down one side, we really have to get the other back three across the pitch.
Leao's not going to. He's not going to track Kieran Trippier.
Ball forwards from Milan into midfield. Newcastle head on. Wilson back to Bruno now. Joelinton wide right. Takes it down the touchline. Three in the box. Sticks the cross in. Good header! Miguel Almiron, not known for his heading, but generated power and direction, but Maignan was there to save.
Yeah, comfortable save. Good ball played near post.
Gordon, great. Ooh, it's going to be a free kick for Milan, is it? Thought he tracked him well, Anthony Gordon. Referee says it was a foul on Loftus-Cheek.
Wasn't going to give it, was he?
No, he wasn't. Great pace to the cross. Miggy just tried to direct it, but yeah, it was a really good ball into the box, good pace to it, but straight at the goalie in the end.
It's a risky ball played by Florenzi straight to Bruno, but Milan have it back. Loftus-Cheek then with a dummy, let it run, and Livramento's got it. Oh, and it's a through ball towards Gordon that's cut out. Livramento picked up the pieces and then got taken down by Tiani Reinders. Free kick on the left, 30 to 35 yards out. It's within the 18-yard line, within the penalty box, so a long way infield. And Newcastle, with Trippier behind the ball, have enabled Cher and Lascelles to step forwards and go into the D, which is where players from both teams are. Trippier rolls it to Livramento. There's options to the right. This is Bruno, not the best first touch. Then he's lost the ball. And Milan, here's the danger. Pulisic, stopped by Almiron. And a fair challenge. A clean win of the ball by Almiron to break up the Milan counter-attack, and Bruno carrying Newcastle forwards. Miguel Almiron out to Kieran Trippier. Tries to win a corner. Lewis Miley in the penalty area now. Takes it out of the box to Almiron. Sends it over to Livramento on the near side. Gordon on the corner of the Milan penalty area. Into the centre of midfield to share. 0-0. Lascelles thinks about coming forwards. Travels about 10 yards. Gives it short to Almiron. Swept out to Livramento. Gordon will have it on the left wing. Maybe a chance to take on his man. Instead, it's inside to Joelinton. Roll to Bruno. Up to Miley. Back to Trippier. Into Joelinton. Wide right to Miley. To Bruno. Back through for Miley to chase, but it beats him and goes behind for a goal kick.
Again, it's tight areas, isn't it? Pulisic looks lost on this right-hand side. It doesn't look like he's sure where he's supposed to be playing. He keeps drifting inside. This is where they kill it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's short along to the right-hand side of defence from the goal kick. Giroud trying to help it on. Livramento.
Great tackle.
Great clearance. Miley touching it forwards. Almiron on his chest, and Wilson might be away behind. It's Milan who defend it through Tomori and then nod it back to the goalkeeper. The header from Florenzi as Newcastle tried to get in at the edge of the box. They were close. Still goalless on BBC Radio Newcastle. Tiani Reinders to Christian Pulisic on the right wing, like all of his Milan colleagues in long sleeves tonight. It's only Miley and Dubravka for Newcastle who've got a long sleeve top on under their jerseys. Milan through Yunus Musa, playing it back down the left, and now Maignan 5 yards outside the box, hoisted up towards the edge of the Newcastle box. Lascelles and Trippier just about deal with it, and it's Lascelles' ball to Livramento. He's taken it out of play away from Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah, but that's one straight ball that nearly takes us all out of the game. You know, it's a run from deep.
They have it back. Livramento into midfield, straight to pink Milan shirt. Outside of the right boot from Reinders, caught by Dubravka and away quickly. Fast distribution from Dubravka. Trippier into the Milan half, a ball for Almiron in the box. The cut back towards Wilson, cleared by Tomori, who's certainly been sharp in the opening half hour for Kayo Tomori.
He's defended well for them, Tomori.
It's 0-0 as it stands. Newcastle not going through in the Champions League, but okay for more European football, as Gordon releases Livramento, but there's two defenders with him now in the corner on the left. Still got it, Livramento, down under a challenge, no free kick, and Milan through Pulisic keep hold of possession, and Newcastle win a throw. Bruno in on Pulisic, who's getting frustrated, and Bruno gets the crowd involved.
Milan still look really tough to break down once they get set. You know, they are good defenders, the Italians, and when they get set, it's really difficult. And as Ando said, we try to play a lot of small triangles and try to get through them, but they really are quite solid once they get set. I really do think our best chance is on the break or transition.
Joelinton tried to flick it, and it's intercepted by Milan. A back heel from Loftus-Cheek, and it's Pulisic, and then forwards into the box, but the touch from Giroud for the run from Tiani Reinders was too heavy, and Dubravka has it, and Almiron gives it away, gives it straight back to Milan, and Rafael Leao on the far side. Yunus Musa wearing number 80 on the back of his shirt with his yellow boots. A ball to Davide Calabria, back to Musa, right side of the centre circle. Goalless here, goalless in Germany. So it's as you were in the group. Reinders 5 yards outside the area. Bruno Guimaraes winning it back and carrying it away down the right wing. Only Wilson up ahead. He turns and brings it back, and outside of the right boot Very coolly done by Bruno into Cher. Livramento with a forward run. Gordon in the centre. There's a lot of space for Gordon here. He might take it on. It's Miley and back to Joelinton. Oh, what a goal! Joelinton with a beauty. Just what Newcastle need. Set up by Gordon, and then Miley with the layoff intelligently, and Joelinton took a touch and hammered it into the top corner. What a strike from Joelinton. His third of the season, and it puts them in the driving seat. As it stands, they are ahead of Paris Saint-Germain and heading through in the Champions League. 33 on the clock. Joelinton, great goal. Newcastle United 1, AC Milan 0.
That's a great strike, great break. I think Kieran Trippier is going to come off, you know. He's feeling his left thigh. He went down on his hunkers as that ball flew into the back of the net. Yeah, he is going to have to come off, Trippier.
But what a strike from Joelinton.
Oh, I mean, Reinders gives us away in a bad area. All of a sudden we break, move it inside. Joelinton got it out of his feet nice and early into the top corner. Keeper has no chance.
You enjoy that one, Steve Watson?
Bruno at the start of that move got himself in a really good position in front of him. He won the ball back. He showed great composure. He didn't go back to the goalkeeper. He played a little slide inside with outside of his right foot. As we talked about earlier, Gordon coming off the line, Livramento bombing down the outside, so the defender didn't know what to do. Gordon got the ball in space. 2 passes later, it was just a fantastic strike from Joelinton. Miley played his part, so a fantastic opening goal.
1-0 Newcastle. Milan free kick on the far side, dangerously into the area. They need to get it clear, and Lewis Miley gets it clear, and then Calabria with a touch and a pass from halfway back to Maignan outside the Milan penalty box. Under a bit of pressure from Gordon, lifted away left-footed. That'll go through to Dubravka. Lascelles with a delicate flick off the top of his head to the keeper. They're in the perfect position, winning here, and it's what they need with it still 0-0 in Dortmund. Now Kieran Trippier is continuing, despite the concern over his fitness, but we'll monitor that situation. It's BBC Radio Newcastle, 10 minutes to half-time. Great goal from Joelinton, who already has one in the Champions League for Hoffenheim. Now he has one for Newcastle.
They've got to get Trippier off.
Well, he can't play on Saturday against Fulham because he's suspended, Kieran Trippier. So he'll miss that match anyway, but I don't know if they'll be able to get him through to half-time. He's still out there. There's nobody warming up for Newcastle along the touchline, and we can't see through the glass roof of the dugout because they put the Champions League branding on the top of it. Eddie Howe's in the technical area, Jason Tindall just behind him.
I suppose all you can hope when you're feeling your thigh is it's a dead leg. If it's a muscle injury, then we are in trouble if Trippier gets an injury that's going to keep him out for any amount of time. So, but the Newcastle staff will know that better than anybody. It's kind of the same as Sean Longstaff when we're talking why didn't he start, because if he isn't ready to start a game yet, we can't afford for somebody to go in like Harvey Barnes and Jacob Murphy and get injured and be out for even longer. So it's a real tricky situation for the club at the moment with the injuries.
There's a good header from Livramento, and the roar as Gordon collected and now moves and goes forwards. Gordon, brilliant run. He's taken Newcastle into the final third and wins a throw.
That's what Gordon's did brilliantly since he's came in this season.
Gets up the pitch
he's got us up the pitch, got us up the pitch. He's a great ball carrier at pace, and he gets you up the pitch. We've now got to throw in the final third.
Newcastle leading 1-0 through this man's goal, Joelinton. Before tonight, all their goals have been scored against Paris Saint-Germain. Milan, by the way, 3 Champions League goals. That is the fewest of any team in the group stage, in all the groups. They're going through in the Champions League as it stands. Miley, who laid on the goal for Joelinton with the final touch to play him in. After great work from Bruno, Cher and Gordon in the move. Trippier down the line to Almiron. 30 yards out, Bruno Guimaraes. In towards Miley, taken down. Lewis Miley nipped in ahead of his opponent and close to the assistant referee. And not far from the goal line, out wide. Newcastle have a free kick. 17 years old. He handles himself so well in every regard.
He's so calm on the ball. He makes great decisions with the ball, and he's way ahead of his years. I mean, that was a situation where other players might have actually not got the foot to that ball because they knew they were going to get a hit. But he got his foot there first, bought the foul, and yeah, he's just way ahead of his years. He's done fantastically well.
This is a really promising position. Everybody back for Milan, 2 on the edge of the area for Newcastle. Trippier's free kick, it's a good header away. Almiron then back in, and the possibility of an AC Milan break with Giroud helping it on to Rafael Leao in the Newcastle half, but he's not brilliant. He's not going to run Tino Livramento, and in the end he knocks Livramento over. It's a free kick.
That's brilliant. Just got himself between man and ball. He's been disappointing now.
Talking about Miley, you know, Livramento's, he's older, but he's by no means an experienced senior pro, but he certainly plays like one. He's got absolutely everything.
They've won a corner. Lewis Miley closing down on the experienced French international Theo Hernandez, who tried to clear it, hit Miley, and out for a corner kick on the right. Newcastle 1-0 up on AC Milan, and still 0-0 between Dortmund, who are looking to win the group, and Paris Saint-Germain, and Newcastle in second place in the current standings. 40th minute. They've been in front for 7 minutes. They can go 2-0 up from this corner, but it's headed away. And then Almiron caught by Rafael Leao, and there's a card coming here. Yellow card for the Portuguese forward. He's been out for a month, Rafael Leao, and the referee Danny Macaulay felt that he caught Almiron in the face with his arm.
That's
what actually happened, Ando.
He has caught him. There's no intent in that whatsoever.
And the doctors come running on. Meanwhile, Joelinton is having some spray applied to the top of his back or his neck. It looks like the one that freezes rather than heats it up. And then Jason Tindall, the assistant manager, all in black with shiny white trainers. They look like new trainers, or they've been in the wash. Jason Tindall with Joelinton sends him back on his way onto the pitch, and Almiron just being checked over, and the physio goes on along with the doctors. Been caught by Rafael Leao. Newcastle lead 1-0. They're sitting Almiron up, and they'll have a free kick on the right, almost 30 yards from the Milan goal, but probably too far wide for a shot. Kieran Trippier has just been given something, hasn't he, by the physio. I don't know what it is. It might be a note.
Yeah, it's his homework.
Looks like he's just shoved something down his shorts. No, he's just thrown something back. Not quite sure what it was, but he's returned it to the physio, and he's going to take the free kick. Trippier, good ball in. Joelinton header's gone backwards. It's gone the wrong way. Livramento with a forward ball. Joelinton stabs it out wide. It's a Milan throw.
Great delivery. I just think Joelinton got in there a little bit early.
Got up too early as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
So far, so good. Newcastle in second place in the group. 1-0 up here, 0-0 between Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain. In Newcastle now their own half, with Milan from the halfway line, Tomori to Pulisic. the American international, back to Calabria. His entire career, Calabria's been at AC Milan. The 27-year-old. Now, Hernandez up from the back. And Yunus Musa wide left, playing the ball backwards, and Miley putting pressure on. Wilson closing down. Tomori in the centre circle, rolls it to the feet of Pulisic. Good tidy play from Pulisic. Giroud laying it off. It's a heavy layoff from Giroud, and it really killed the momentum of that move, but they've got it again, the Italians. Yunus Musa down the line, nobody there apart from Kieran Trippier, and now Miguel Almiron with a big clearance, and Wilson's going to chase after this, but Tomori in the right position to head it to Calabria, who takes it back and plays it to the goalkeeper in front of the penalty box. 2 minutes plus additional time until the break. BBC Radio Newcastle. And it's a possession for the Serie A side, who trailed to that Joelinton goal. A belter from Joelinton. Callum Wilson winning it back in the centre circle, and the ball from Gordon to the right wing is into space. There's nobody there in black and white. Almiron closes down, but Milan play their way into midfield. Trippier with an interception, and then he's dispossessed. Both teams losing the ball quite cheaply. Loftus-Cheek the latest to do it. Share upfield. Wilson tries to challenge. Wilson will chase after the ball. Tomori with him. Nobody in the middle. Left side. Now into the area, Wilson. Couple of step overs. Clearance from Milan. Lascelles collects in front of the centre circle. On to Trippier. Has a touch. Almiron for support. Rolled in by Trippier. Almiron right-footed cross. Deflected. And corner.
Yeah, it's that swinger again, isn't it?
Just got a little bit untidy from both teams the last sort of 5 minutes.
Milan just can't keep it, can they?
No, it's just important. It's just important, even when we get it now, to show that little bit of composure. But we need to just get through to half-time now. We don't need to commit anybody forward. We just need to get through to half-time, make good decisions.
A minimum of 2 additional minutes at the end of this first half, with Newcastle 1-0 up. Danny Mackley's whistle has been blown. There is something in the box. It's Callum Wilson and Fikayo Tomori. Oh, in fact, it's not, is it? It's Yunus Musa. It's Wilson and a Milan player. And they're at it again.
I think the referee's been really good, but you see this at every single corner. I don't think we need to make such a big deal about it.
Kieran Trippier delivers the ball, hangs it up. Maignan comes, and Lascelles with a goalward header, but the keeper got a barge.
A barge. I don't think there's any doubt. Once the keeper went down, he was going to give that.
It's yellow card to the keeper as well.
The yellow card was for the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I saw that the card came out from Danny Mackley, and considering Milan got the free kick, what happened? What did he do to get that?
Just the goalkeeper's reaction.
He abused the referee.
He's still at him now, isn't he? Milan free kick then. He's misbehaving, Mike Maignan, the French international.
Joelinton was quite clever there. He'd done an old-fashioned basketball post play, and then he broke the game down a little bit there, and he's bought Newcastle a bit of time this time.
Maignan taking the free kick from the wrong position, told to get back by the referee. Now the keeper is saying Callum Wilson isn't far enough back. Eventually the game restarts. Long ball upfield, Share down under a challenge, and it's an illegal one from Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Share's back up. Free kick for Newcastle United, who lead 1-0 in first half, added on time.
It's all got very scrappy, hasn't it?
Scrappy and niggly. I think we just need to be a little bit composed and as I say, not do anything silly.
Had half-time in Germany, 0-0, Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain, which is what Newcastle need when they're winning. As it stands, they're going through in the Champions League. Martin Dubravka There's the half-time whistle as the goalkeeper sends the free kick up the pitch. Joelinton with a brilliant goal, John Anderson, to separate the teams.
Oh, it's a great strike. I mean, it started at a high tempo. You could see Milan were trying to kill the game, trying to slow it down. After the goal, it got a little bit sloppy from both sides. Neither side could really keep the ball, but it's a great strike. Young Miley, again, for 17 years of age, has been so composed in the middle of the pitch. His use of the ball has been excellent. His defensive side of the game's been really, really good as well. We've seen absolutely nothing of Milan as a forward threat. Pulisic on this side hasn't really got involved in the game. Lau on the other side hasn't got involved. He's been really, really quiet. We just need to keep doing what we're doing. You know, we need to keep the ball though. You know, after the goal, the last 5-10 minutes of the half, it got scrappy. Either side was really able to keep the ball. We just need to take the sting out of it now, because in that opening 45 minutes, Milan have shown no threat going forward whatsoever.
Mike Maignan, the visiting goalkeeper, was last off the pitch talking to the referee. There were a few boos as he went down the tunnel. Newcastle lead 1-0. Send us a message on Twitter, now called X, at BBC Newcastle, or if you want to send a WhatsApp message through, put BBC at the start, and the number for that is 08000 321 333. Simon Pride will be along in a moment or two. A reminder, 0-0 between Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain. Newcastle in second place and progressing, Steve Watson, in the Champions League as it stands. Would you say they are good value for their 1-0 lead?
Yeah, to be honest with you, they've been the team that's been trying to win the game. They set the stall out early, they played quickly, they took things quickly. And as Ando said, you know, Milan started the game trying to kill the game a little bit. They tried to work on breaks where, you know, Leao was maybe not tracking Trippier back, but almost gambling to Milan winning the ball and getting it out to him quick. They've only had one real chance of note, which was a decent chance for Leao, who didn't even work the goalkeeper. So certainly think Newcastle have been really good value. But you know, the second half's probably got some different questions to ask of the team. You know, we have got that lead now. We have done really well overlapping with full-backs. Might it be a case of the second half, just the full-backs almost backing things up now? So we'll see how it turns out. But either way, it's fascinating.
We'll have more discussion about the first half in just a moment here on BBC Radio Newcastle. At the break, it's everything they wanted it to be. It's going their way between Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain, and they are beating Milan at St James's. Newcastle United lead by 1-0.
This is Jam Hot.
Time of our lives.
Nothing's fine, I'm tired. I can feel my face when I'm with you. Gold, always believe in your soul. Very superstition.
Chaka Khan. Time of our lives.
Chaka Khan, let me rock it.
1 hour, 2 mystery years. Weekdays from 1. BBC Radio Newcastle, the sound of the Northeast.
Razor and Ando back for the second half. Steve Watson with them as well, and Steve has just stayed around with me, Simon Pride, here at St James's Park, just to reflect a little bit more on a very, very satisfactory first half excuse me, for Newcastle United against AC Milan. 1-0 they lead. Joelinton's thunderous strike from the edge of the area separating the sides, and Steve, on reflection, no more than Newcastle deserved.
No, I think, as I said earlier, I think Newcastle went out with more intent to win the game, as they do at St James's. The crowd was behind them. They started really quickly. Had a really good chance earlier than the goal, where the defender made an unbelievable cover and tackle, which was warning signs for Milan, really, because again it came from a wide area and people breaking the line inside. Inside that sort of box run that Newcastle are so good at, the run that Joelinton made there, and Sean Longstaff's been really good at this season. And you know, they thoroughly deserved the lead, but they're just a word of caution, I suppose, for the amount of bodies we're committing forward. Maybe the fact that we can do it to a lesser extent in the second half. It's really difficult for a manager to know to go for another goal or to sit on what they've got, but we've been stung by that before. So as I said, it'll be a fascinating second half, the way that we go about it. It'll be a fascinating second half, and the fact that we have actually got people now who can come on and affect the game. No disrespect to the younger lads who have been who've doing so well and making debuts, but you know, it's as I say, it's a fascinating setup for the second half. Indeed.
In terms of the last couple of Premier League matches, which were a little bit disappointing and lacked a bit of energy, I guess, because the players had played so many games and looked a bit jaded. There was no sign of that tonight, clearly. I mean, it was the usual levels, high intensity, energetic pressing, players covering huge amounts of ground, the usual suspects in that respect as well. And they just didn't give AC Milan any time on the ball, did they? And continually pushed them onto the back foot.
No, I mean, I know there shouldn't maybe be that much of a difference between home and away performances, but this place on the Champions League night is very special, and even if the energy levels have been sort of down a little bit in the last couple of games, they certainly do find your adrenaline when you get here, and it makes a huge difference. You know, you got to remember as well, we've came off the back of 2 unbelievably difficult away games against the side fighting for their lives, and you know, just a top quality Spurs side. So you know, I expected, I wouldn't say reaction, I'd expected a really positive start to the game and hoped for one as well, and I think that's what we got.
We'll get some more details on the other game, which is currently 0-0 Dortmund against PSG, but with that in mind, and obviously Newcastle's coaching staff will be aware of that as things stand, Newcastle would be qualifying for the knockout stage. You've already touched upon the difficult and the delicate balancing act between kind of going for another one, maybe sitting back a little bit more. You don't want to sit back too much, I guess, and invite Milan on too much. What would you be saying if you were Eddie Howe in the dressing room now?
I think we've done really well. As I say, the only danger I saw against us there was just sort of not even great play from Milan. There's a couple of times just sort of straight balls and sort of one ball turning them, where as I say, the 2 wide men haven't tracked back. But you know, that's something that when you're having so much possession and so much joy, it's difficult to keep your concentration, but it's really important that we do.
Steve, I'll let you go and get a well-earned half-time cup of tea, a bit of refreshment, and then Steve will be back with Ando and Reza for the second half. Steve and Ando sticking around until 10:30 this evening as well, after the match, to reflect on what has happened, and who knows what the second 45 minutes will hold here at St James's Park. Who knows what it will hold in Dortmund as well. That is the other match, of course, which is crucial in Group F. Borussia Dortmund against Paris Saint-Germain. Newcastle need Borussia Dortmund to hold out or even go and win the game. BBC Radio Newcastle's Dom James is watching that one from the BBC Radio Newcastle studios. And Dom, 0-0 the score, but what's it looking like in terms of who's on top?
Well, although it's goalless, it really does not tell the story whatsoever. It's been a really open game. PSG after 15 minutes should have taken the lead. Lee missed a relatively open goal from just 6 yards out, pulled it wide. Dembele crossed the ball and just missed the post there. But 2 minutes later, some tremendous defending from Dortmund. Sule, world-class defending. Mbappe was through, he rounded the keeper and he was about to slot it home, and then Sule arrives almost out of nowhere, hooks the ball out from the bottom under of the crossbar and hooks it over the bar. So some really world-class defending from Dortmund there. And Mbappe and Dembele combining again on that right-hand side for PSG. Dembele was in one-on-one with the goalkeeper and he's flicked it with the outside of his right foot. It almost looked like slow motion as if it was going in, but then it just shaved the outside of the post. Adeyemi for Dortmund had a good opportunity as well for Dortmund on the half-an-hour mark. Relatively close in from about the penalty spot, but volleyed it over after an effort was parried back from Donnarumma. And then just before half-time, Dembele had a shot saved from the right-hand side of the box, again getting in on that right-hand side. So lots of chances in Dortmund, a very open game. I can't see this staying goalless, Simon.
OK, Dom, thank you. Keep an eye on that in the second half. Dom will give us updates. It sounds like certainly PSG in particular have had their opportunities there, but crucially they haven't been able to take any of them, and that remains goalless. So as things stand, Newcastle United would be going through, but a lot of football to be played yet. Elsewhere in the Champions League this evening, in Group E at half-time, it's Atletico Madrid 1, Lazio 0, and in the same group, Celtic are up against Feyenoord, and they lead by 1-0 there. They've got a penalty in the first half. In Group G, these were the early games. Manchester City with a young team out of 1-3-2 at Red Star Belgrade, and RB Leipzig have beaten Young Boys by 2-1 in Group H. FC Porto 2, Shakhtar Donetsk 1 at half-time, and Royal Antwerp 1, Barcelona 1. Some games in the Championship tonight as well. Birmingham City lead by 1-0 at Cardiff. Coventry City are 1-up against Southampton. Leicester City have come from a goal behind to lead 2-1 against Millwall. It's Norwich City 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1, and it's Queen's Park Rangers 0, Plymouth Argyle 0, and Middlesbrough lead Hull City by 1-0. So that's you up to date with plenty of other scores from around the country. In the FA Cup second round, a replay there. It's Stockport 0, Aldershot Town 0 as well. Now Durham's women played Aston Villa earlier this evening. That one was a 6 o'clock kickoff in their final group match of the Conti Cup. That's the Women's League Cup. And BBC Radio Newcastle's Colin White was watching.
It was a tough night for the Wildcats, who were beaten 5-1 by a top-flight Villa side that had already won their 2 previous group matches against Championship opposition, 5-0 and 7-0. But it was goalless at half-time, although that parity only lasted 3 minutes of the second half, and by the 52nd minute it was 2-0. The Canadian international Adriana Leon scored the first and made the second, a header from the Scotland defender Rachel Corsie. That Villa could introduce the likes of former Sunderland midfielder Jordan Nobbs and current England regular Rachel Daly as second-half substitutes tells you about their strength in depth, and Daly it was who would then score twice more. Villa's 3 goal scorers tonight had a combined total of more than 320 international caps. Amy Andrews' neat finish with 4 minutes left was nothing but a consolation, and there was still time for Rachel Daly to complete her hat-trick after that. Durham can no longer qualify for the quarter-finals, but after tonight's match I had a chat with their head coach Claire Ditchburn. That was a tough night. That felt like a lot of effort for not a huge amount of reward.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you come and play against such high calibre teams and such high calibre players, that can sometimes be the way. But I thought that the first half we did very well in terms of we competed, we went in at 0-0. Unfortunately, we came out, we conceded that goal early in the second half, and from there we were always chasing it a bit.
Yeah, I mean, they're 3 goal scorers tonight. I know you've just alluded to it in another interview. 320 international caps between them. That's the level of opposition you were facing tonight, ultimately.
Yeah, it is, and you know, in one respect it's fantastic for the girls. They're able to compete against these players. We learn from playing against them, and in another respect it's extremely difficult and it can be disheartening. But I think once obviously the emotions die down and the disappointment, then there will be a lot that we're able to learn and take from this.
I'm going to ask you what it is that you or the kind of things that you can learn, because it's a heavy defeat. But so what do you learn from it? What do you try and take from it?
I think we just have to perhaps polish up those rough edges. When we get opportunities, we have to be more clinical. You have to, score your opportunities, because you're not going to get so many of them at this level. Equally, a momentary lapse in concentration, and they can punish you. So it's really about kind of fine-tuning those little 1% here and there.
And just finally, it's the first time we've spoken to you since the FA Cup draw. And let's end on a positive, because it's Manchester City at home. Is that more or less as good a draw as you could have wanted? It's one of the biggest teams, but you're at home and you can have a big home crowd behind you.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think when it came out, there was a big cheer all around. So everyone's really looking forward to it. First game after the Christmas break, and everybody will be... they'll have the whole Christmas to look forward to it. We'll have the whole Christmas to prepare for it. And I think with the home crowd behind us, it'll be a great occasion.
Claire Ditchburn there, reflecting on a disappointing evening for Durham's women. Colin White, our man, covering that match for BBC Radio Newcastle. Quick message from John, who's a Newcastle fan, really happy with the first half. The youngsters have been outstanding. Tino and Miley, Bruno and Joe Linton running midfield as well, though we do need to give Wilson more support, he says. Keep the messages coming. We will read plenty of them out at full time with Steve Watson and John Anderson. 08000 321 333. Start your message BBC on WhatsApp. 81333 on text. Again, start your message with the letters BBC. I think the requirement is more of the same in the second half, and that second half is coming up next.
Half-time highlights.
Total Sport North East.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
There's a lot of space for Gordon here. He might take it on. It's Miley and back to Joelinton. Oh, what a goal! Joelinton with a beauty. Just what Newcastle need. Set up by Gordon, and then Miley with the layoff intelligently, and Joelinton took a touch and hammered it into the top corner. What a strike from Joelinton. His third of the season, and it puts them in the driving seat. As it stands, they are ahead of Paris Saint-Germain and heading through in the Champions League. 33 on the clock. Joelinton, great goal. Newcastle United 1, AC Milan 0.
Total Sport North East.
The Champions League, live from St James's Park.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
That's the only goal so far. Joelinton for Newcastle United, 1-0 up. Milan on the pitch for the second half, and here come the Magpies on their way in black and white stripes against Milan, who are in pink and purple kit. And there's a huddle from the Milan players. Some final words ahead of the second half. No changes, so Dubravka, Trippier, who has re-emerged despite a concern over his condition, Lascelles, Cher and Livramento, Miley, Bruno and Joelinton in midfield, Almiron right, Gordon left, Wilson up top. Newcastle to kick off the second half, kicking towards the right as we look towards the Gallagher end, down the hill, and AC Milan. Maignan in goal, Calabria, Tomori, Hernandez, Florenzi. A midfield of Loftus-Cheek, Reinders and Musa, with Pulisic on the right, Rafael Leao on the left, and Giroud up front. It's 1-0 to Newcastle United on BBC Radio Newcastle, and we have Steve Watson alongside John Anderson as our two match summarisers on this big night where they could be making major progress in Europe. The kick-off sends them into the corner on the left. Gordon blocks a Milan clearance, and now Joelinton gets into some physical stuff, but it's away by the visitors. Cher with a clever header inside, and Bruno back to Lascelles behind the halfway line, and the captain collects and drives it through the middle. Joelinton with a header at the edge of the area. Wilson trying to bring it down, and does, and hits it straight at Maignan. Left-footed, centre of the goal, low down, an easy save, but half a chance for Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, they got themselves in a knot at the back. Two Milan players went for the same ball. It's fallen for Wilson on his left foot. Comfortable save in the end for the keeper.
It's sent down the right wing by the Italians and brought in to a central position by Pulisic. Reinders here. Out wide again to Pulisic. Newcastle, everybody behind the ball except for Gordon and Wilson. Almiron goes to close down. The fullback Florenzi, who's in a central midfield spot. Now Miley putting the pressure on. Milan back to Theo Hernandez. Yunus Musa on the left. Possession for Milan at the back and in midfield. Livramento tries to step in and win it. The ball's gone away from him. Cher is pulled out to the wide left defensive position. Milan continue the attack. Joelinton stops the cross. Cher to Livramento, and it's up to Callum Wilson. Bangs into Tomori.
That's what he does
Tomori
well.
lays it off to Joelinton. Miley having to stretch, but it's brought back. Joelinton's pass slightly misplaced, but Danny Macaulay, the Dutch referee, whistles for a free kick. And Newcastle have the ball on the far side.
Yeah, he does that so well, Wilson. Sticks his backside into people, makes himself big and strong.
Wilson for Isak is the only Newcastle change tonight. Dan Burn back on the bench alongside Longstaff, Hall, Isak, Dummett and Karius, with 17-year-old academy goalkeeper Adam Harrison there too. Oh. The goalkeeper Maignan with a turn, took a big chance, got away with it. Joelinton, wonderful recovery in midfield to win the ball back, and Bruno now getting away down the left wing. It's good play by Bruno. He's found Gordon on the goal line in the corner. It's played back 20 yards to Joelinton. Reverse ball to Bruno on the left wing. In comes the cross and back out it goes from the header from Tomori. A free kick from Milan in the middle of their half of the field. Steve Watson.
I'm a big fan, really big fan of Gordon and Almiron. I wish at times that they would actually go down to the touchline and just put a cross in with the wrong foot every now and again, just to keep the defenders guessing. Just hang a ball up with the wrong foot, because Gordon had a great chance there to pull across it, to get a cross in. And sometimes when your attacker's made the run, it's too late by the time you've cut back. I mean, they've both been fantastic, but I'd love to see them add that to the game a little bit.
Lewis Miley closing down Teo Hernandez. The defender plays with the outside of his left across the pitch to Fikayo Tomori. And this is an opportunity for Milan, stopped by Fabian Schär. Challenge on Ruben Loftus-Cheek. It's a throw for the away side. Newcastle's 15th Champions League home match tonight, including qualifiers. They'd won 8 of the previous 14. Almiron closing down Hernandez. Milan had gone all the way back. He slid in, Almiron, almost got a boot on the ball, but the visitors still have it. Rafael Leao just past halfway, inside to midfield to Teo Hernandez. Now it's with Tiani Reinders. He's wearing black gloves, Reinders. Newcastle 1-0 up here. Milan on the attack, left side in the penalty area. Rafael Leao. Oh, and it's straight to Joelinton. Can Newcastle break quickly? There's been a goal in Dortmund. We're going to go there in a second when we see what happens here with this Newcastle move. Bruno's got it and a man on. And now it's come for Wilson over halfway. Livramento drags it forwards and gets Gordon on the left wing. Anthony Gordon into the penalty area. Now Joelinton, Lewis Miley takes it away to the right-hand side, back to Almiron. Bruno, Livramento's free and wants it on the left wing. It's Gordon, hasn't scored in the Champions League yet and was looking for his first goal, but it's over the top. Let's find out about the goal in the Dortmund-Paris Saint-Germain match from BBC Radio Newcastle's Dom James.
And it's good news for Newcastle United. Adeyemi scores for Borussia Dortmund to give them the lead after 52 minutes. Dortmund winning the ball high up in the penalty box. A scramble in the box. Adeyemi's there on the penalty spot to tuck it into the bottom hand corner. Dortmund lead 1-0.
Thanks, Dom. Keep bringing us the good news. Milan with the goal kick. Newcastle win it back. Here's Callum Wilson. Firmly struck, but once again straight at Maignan in the centre of the goal. Trippier has won it back, and then a back heel to Miley. They're on top, Newcastle. This is good stuff. It's Almiron back to Trippier, leading 1-0. And Paris Saint-Germain losing in Germany, so they're going through as it stands. Bruno and Almiron combine. Now in the corner on the right side. Bruno, it's a goal kick. And that attack comes to an end. I think, Steve, the crowd got a message to the players, because as we were hearing from Dom about the Dortmund goal, quite a few, particularly at the Gallagher end, got up and were celebrating.
Yeah, I'm quite sure the change in there, so they say that it's noisy anyway, but the sudden burst of energy again there was probably let the players know what's going on. Great defending again there from Trippier. Just not that one.
Yeah, he's just taken down Rafael Leao. Free kick, no card, just past halfway.
The one before that, when the ball gets put into Leao's feet, the last thing you want is a player like him turning and facing you. So Trippier kept him facing his own goal. Got up really tight against him, really good defending.
I think Milan are asking why there hasn't been a yellow card. The manager, Stefano Pioli, with his black suit and trainers, goes to the fourth official, who is Allard Lindhout, another Dutchman. And Trippier avoids a caution. Newcastle lead 1-0, and Milan back to Maignan. Ball nearly went behind him. He was in the middle of the box. Rafael Leao goes down, this time under another Kieran Trippier challenge, but Newcastle are saying there was no contact. And Eddie Howe getting involved in the appeals, but it is a free kick.
You would imagine the next one that happens, a card will be shown. He's feeling that again.
It's the left leg. He's got the left side of his shorts pulled up, and he's touching his leg a lot. Kieran Trippier, suspended for Saturday in the Premier League. By the way, Bruno is a yellow card away from a Champions League suspension. 54th minute. Milan through a frustrated Florenzi, wanting options, wanting movement. Lewis Miley stops him from going forwards, and he has to play it back to Fikayo Tomori. Tiani Reinders confronted by Joelinton, and then back to the goalkeeper. Wilson closes down. Maignan up to halfway. Giroud's caught Trippier. Trippier has stayed down. It may have just been the way that he's landed.
The way that he's fallen. He hasn't caught him.
There was no contact between them? I'm not saying there was an intentional foul. It looked like they collided mid-air. Yeah, he did collide, and then Trippier lands. There's been another goal in Germany. Newcastle leading 1-0. Last we heard, Dortmund were winning. Has it changed, Dom James?
Paris Saint-Germain equalise in Dortmund. A well-worked goal down the left-hand side, PSG. Zaire Emery from the edge of the box, slamming one home for PSG, 1-1.
Well, the talented teenager Warren Zaire Emery for Paris Saint-Germain levels it up, but that's all right. And it's back to how it was at half-time, with Newcastle winning and Paris Saint-Germain not winning. Then it's United who are heading through in the Champions League. Livramento drops his shoulder, gets away from Pulisic. It's exciting play from Tino Livramento, and a great ball to bring Gordon forwards. Gordon's cross turned over his own crossbar by Theo Hernandez.
It's great play. Livramento, brilliant. Great turn of pace. He's just picked it up and he's gone. But then to have the vision to play the little ball for Gordon, the pullback, and they're stretched again, Milan.
I think when you cross it early, and it was with his left foot that time, when you cross it early, you've got the defenders facing their own goal. That can happen. You can get a corner. You can even maybe get an own goal out of it. So that early cross really got Milan stretching there. But fantastic again from Livramento.
Jason Tindall trying to get a message to a Newcastle player in the box as they wait for Trippier to send the corner in. Gordon goes out to the left wing. Trippier rolls it along the goal line to Bruno. Back to Trippier. Now on to Almiron. He's missed it. It would have been some goal. He went to volley it. It may have just clipped his heel. But
I think when you do drills like that, you have to have the right person on the end of it.
When Eddie Howe was Bournemouth manager, they scored a goal at St James's Park that was identical to that. But it didn't come off for Newcastle there. Lascelles' clear foul on Giroud. It's all over him and gave him a push.
I think there was so much pace on the ball there that Miggy just needed to direct it, whereas he's actually had a bit of a swipe at it, and it's a much more difficult skill when you do that.
We've got John Anderson and Steve Watson with us tonight on BBC Radio Newcastle. 57th minute, straight out of play by Davide Calabria. And Livramento with a throw in the visitors' half up to Wilson. He hit the deck under a challenge and no free kick. Loftus-Cheek, powerful midfield play, and then there's Joelinton.
Not as powerful as Joelinton.
You've got to be big and strong to get the better of him. Bruno's ball to the left wing can't be kept in by Gordon. Isak and Byrne are warming up. Longstaff's been along the touchline in the last few minutes as well. Seeing a A bit more of Milan now down the right side with Pulisic. Back it goes to Captain Calabria. This could be trouble. Reinders into the box, good feet, he's beaten a few players and slammed the shot against Fabian Schär, and it goes behind.
Great feet. Went one way, went the other. He's done well to win a corner kick.
Joelinton on the 33rd minute into the top corner from inside the box with the only goal. Milan right-hand side with the corner kick. Every black and white shirt is in the Newcastle box. It's hung up and headed back across the area, and then it's out by Newcastle. It was Loftus-Cheek, I think, who might have had the header. This is Musa, Rafael Leao with the cross, a missed kick. Oh, and an equaliser for Milan. It's in off Pulisic at the far side of the box. Newcastle didn't quite get it clear, recycled, and then the cross from Rafael Leao converted by Christian Pulisic, and suddenly everything has changed with the Paris Saint-Germain equaliser in Dortmund, and now the Milan leveller here in the 59th minute. Newcastle United 1, AC Milan 1.
VAR are looking at it.
Offside potentially?
Not for the goal scorer. I think the run from Leao originally is what they're looking at.
Could well be Rafael Leao, isn't it, down the left?
No, the goal, Pulisic is definitely onside. It's whether Leao just went a bit early on his run.
Well, we're still waiting to restart. The graphics on the giant screen at the Leazes end tell us that a goal check is underway and the goal stands. It's 1-1. And Newcastle heading for the Europa League. Bruno with a misplaced pass out of play behind Trippier. Isak jogs back to the bench. We may be seeing him soon. And we're hearing the noise from the Milan section. They've only taken 2.5 blocks in the Leazes end. Newcastle back to Dubravka, away towards Almiron. Header from Florenzi, which goes out. So what's the key to it now, Steve Watson, with Milan having equalised?
Well, you're right, everything changes now. It looks like Isak's coming on. I would think it would be for Almiron, who's probably maybe been the least effective going forward of the forwards.
Oh, well played, young man.
Very good from Miley again there. But yeah, I would think that would be the change that I think we're going to see.
Lascelles up to Wilson, beaten in the air by Tomori behind him. Rafael Leao heads on. Trippier over his shoulder into midfield. Ruben Loftus-Cheek back to Yunus Musa. John Anderson, Alexander Isak is going to come on now.
Yeah, I didn't think that Wilson would be able to see the 90 minutes through. Isak's a different type of player. I think Wilson's been excellent in bringing people into the game and holding people up. Isak will look to play the channels, he'll look to get it and run at people.
This is something with Almiron. Miley down the right wing, extends the cross in. Lewis Miley, Magnon's lost it, and Wilson throwing himself at it just beyond the post, couldn't keep it in.
How lucky did the keeper get?
Behind off Wilson for a goal kick.
Yeah, keeper got under it, wasn't sure of the flight of the ball. Wilson just stretching, couldn't get enough on it.
It's Anthony Gordon who's going off. Ooh. And Isak will go onto the left side.
Find that a strange one. I think Gordon has caused them problems all evening. But Gordon's got a knock.
Dan Burn is also coming on. Dan Burn's return after missing 7 matches with a back injury. The big man comes on for for Kieran Trippier, and Tino Livramento is jogging across to this side. Trippier comes off, Burn goes to left back, Livramento to right back. So Two changes on the left-hand side as Byrne is roared back onto the field.
Yeah, I'm a little bit like Ando. I thought it would be one of the wide men, but I did think it would be Miggy to give way. As Ando said, I think Gordon's been a threat.
Lascelles intercepts a Milan ball forwards, but Yunus Musa's got it back, followed by Lewis Miley into the Newcastle half, and that's a Newcastle throw. Miley's challenge out off Musa.
He's been great again tonight, both with and without the ball. His work's been excellent.
Livramento now at right back with a throw to Cher. Dan Byrne onto Isak, left side, fronts up his man. Calabria comes in off the touchline and drops it off at the feet of Jamal Lascelles at the back of the centre circle. Almiron making the run. Lascelles keeps hold of the ball. Oh, and it's cut out his square pass. Pulisic with the interception, and Rafael Leao to chase after it. There's black and white shirts back, but they've played themselves into trouble. Leao away from Cher. Rafael Leao still going into the box. Newcastle make the block, Livramento, but that is as nervy a moment as they've had. Miley with a ball up to Almiron, away by Milan, and then Livramento caught by Reinders.
Well, he's getting the free kick, those.
They both got a piece of each other, but it's Newcastle's free kick at the edge of their penalty area. Almost, Ando.
Yeah.
A disaster.
Yeah, Lau just, he overplayed it. I'm not too sure what Lascelles is doing with that crossfield ball either. Such a dangerous ball.
Bruno back to Dubravka. Cher bringing it forwards. Almiron, he's in a left central midfield position now. 1-1 the score. Pulisic's equaliser after Joelinton opened the scoring in the first half, and this is Joelinton looking for Livramento, intercepted. Rafael Leao slowing it down. A ball along the halfway line to Ruben Loftus-Cheek, seeing more of Milan now than at any point in the match. They have been lifted by their leveller. It's 1-1 in Germany between Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain, which keeps Dortmund top but means Newcastle heading to the Europa League as it stands. Livramento makes a sliding challenge on Rafael Leao, and the cross is deflected behind for the corner.
He did well because he's got half a yard on him, Lau. Shown good pace to get back and get that block in.
He's so mobile, so mobile.
Extra height at the back now with Dan Byrne on. And Isak, the other substitute, is in the penalty area. They're all there for Newcastle. Milan 2 on the edge of the box. Calabria in the middle of Newcastle's half. 66th minute. Whipped right-footed corner kick. Player goes down. Referee saying get up. It's quite animated, the referee, at telling Ruben Loftus-Cheek to get up. Threw himself forwards onto the floor.
It's not Loftus-Cheek, is it? No.
With Bruno. Oh, it's Theo Hernandez. Bruno Guimaraes at his back. Isak dispossessed, but it goes out for a throw. Byrne takes it quickly to Bruno, onto Joelinton. Got a man at his back and works it so well with strength, and then a clever ball to Bruno, who's over halfway. Bruno tackled, and the ball was won cleanly. And it's good play by AC Milan. They still have it in midfield. Almiron recovers, dispossesses Florenzi. Bruno makes a challenge. Referee says no foul. Almiron then with another win. Terrific from Miguel Almiron. And they're on the charge to Bruno. And now Joelinton. Isak to the left. Takes it under control. This is Alexander Isak. Oh, it's over the top.
Yeah, did everything right, didn't he? Just shifted, the defender came inside. He's tried to whip it. Got too much height on it. But it's a far even game now, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's turned into a right battle in the middle of the park there. 3 or 4 turnovers have of possession, and that's probably the reason Isak has been brought on to come in on his strong foot. But yeah, maybe the target there for a striker of his quality.
Lascelles challenges with Pulisic. Doesn't like the decision from the referee, saying that Lascelles is holding it.
Wrap round them. It's cuddling them.
It's out on the left, near to halfway.
It's got both arms round him. We wrestle him to the ground.
1-1 on BBC Radio Newcastle. And 1-1 between Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain. PSG going through in the Champions League. Newcastle in third spot as it stands. Milan back to goalkeeper Maignan. Left-footed, long ball up the pitch. Lascelles with a free header that he wins, and it's down to Joelinton in midfield. He gets it back from Bruno. Almiron could take it here, does. In from the right wing, Miguel Almiron, then sees a gap, heads for it, turns back, gives it to Joelinton on the touchline. Miley to Almiron, lovely flick back for Miley. First time ball, volleyed clear. Rafael Leao on his chest and then away. And Lascelles and Giroud compete for it, share with a header. Bruno collects and takes Newcastle over to the left side on the attack with Bruno Guimaraes. And now Isak just inside the area. Isak with good feet. Bruno takes a touch, hits it, tipped onto the bar by Maignan.
It's a great save.
Bruno with a strike and Maignan with a save, touching the ball onto the woodwork. Milan going up the other end trying to counter-attack. Giroud, Pulisic ahead of him. Giroud stopped by Cher and then Livramento. Newcastle still have it, but so close to retaking the lead.
Great save and a great strike. He's got a strong arm to have pushed it up onto the crossbar.
Joelinton makes a run into the left corner, receives the ball from Isak. Challenge on him. Joelinton just bigger and stronger than his opponent. Burn now into the area, but Isak still has it and brings it back into the middle of midfield for Bruno. He might fancy another go. He's taking it on. He's still going. This is Almiron. Oh, rolled back by Almiron behind Wilson. It's given the crowd a lift, but it's still 1-1. And so much space now for Loftus-Cheek. Giroud ran offside. Loftus-Cheek slips it away from Cher straight to Lascelles. They're going to come again, Newcastle. End to end, 1-1, 20 minutes to play.
Really open game.
Oh, it's so stretched now. It's really stretched.
Newcastle are certainly asking them more questions.
Miley to Almiron, back from Miley.
Lifted.
Hangs up the cross. Maignan catches in front of Wilson at the back post.
Good take, keeper. Oh, stretched, didn't he? Good stretch. It's a great strike, isn't it?
Terrific strike. He's seen it late as well. It's bent round Loftus-Cheek, and he's
super save.
Great save.
1-1 on BBC Radio Newcastle, and still nothing else happening in Dortmund against Paris Saint-Germain of any note. Sean Longstaff's going to come on for Newcastle in place of Lewis Miley, who's getting a standing ovation.
Yeah, he's been excellent again tonight, the young man.
Longstaff on, and the Paris Saint-Germain Dortmund match. We've got Dom James watching it in the studio. We'll get an update from Dom in a couple of minutes whether there's been a goal or not, if we can. Newcastle need to go back in front to overtake the French team in the standings. The ball upfield from the goalkeeper, header on by Joelinton, and Milan header, and then a free kick from Milan on the right side of midfield. Let's find out a bit more about the match in Germany from Dom James.
Still goalless between Borussia Dortmund and PSG. Kylian Mbappe's effort, though, has just whistled past the post. He was on the edge of the box, left-foot strike, just past the post. PSG looking like the more likely team to score here.
Thanks, Dom. They're level then in Germany. Both matches 1-1. AC Milan double change coming off Ruben Loftus-Cheek and replaced by Tommaso Pobega. A straight swap. Pobega, the Italian midfielder, came through the Milan academy, and Luka Jovic, former Real Madrid attacker, is also going to come on, and he's going to come on for Christian Pulisic, who scored the equaliser. And Pulisic is given a coat and a water bottle as he leaves the pitch, takes his place on the bench.
Yeah, I don't think Loftus-Cheek is too pleased to being substituted. He's walked off on that far side.
Alessandro Fiorenzi takes the free kick. It's headed across the box. Dubravka makes a catch next to Fikayo Tomori, near to the keeper's right-hand post, and then an overarm throw back over to the left to the big man. Back in action, Dan Burn. Isak into Newcastle's half along the floor to Joelinton. Bruno's got a man on, works it to Longstaff, then on to Almiron. Livramento on the overlap. Almiron's kept it alive by turning and then found Longstaff. Bruno through with a flick into the area. Milan clear. Rafael Leao heads on. Giroud helps it forwards. Livramento manages to hold up Reinders, and Longstaff sees it out for a throw.
It's all got very, very hectic as well.
How do you see it at the moment, Steve Watson?
Hando's probably used the correct word there. It's really hectic in the middle of the pitch, especially. Lots of turnovers, really stretched. But we're making more entries into the final third than they are. But we just need that elusive second goal.
The Milan throw is cleared by Livramento, on by Almiron. There's been another goal in Germany. Dom James.
Paris Saint-Germain have taken the lead. Kylian Mbappe slotting home for PSG. A well-played ball by Hakimi. One-on-one. Mbappe, no doubt, slots it in the bottom corner.
So even if Newcastle win, Dubravka under pressure in the 6-yard box, clears it, then as it stands they will not be able to go through to the last 16 of the Champions League, but they just need to make sure they don't lose to guarantee a Europa League place. But if Dortmund can come back, and if Newcastle can score again and win,
it's a lot of ifs there, Rosa.
Yeah, but it changes. And you remember Feyenoord.
I do indeed.
This is Fabian Schär. What a run from Schär, which is ended by a foul. Oh, it's gone the other way. Fabian Schär can't believe it. He's given it the way of AC Milan. Schär ran a long way, as he does, with the ball. Going back now to Dortmund for another update from Dom James.
VAR check. That goal was offside. Just not much in it, but yeah, a VAR check rules that Mbappe was offside. Still 1-1.
Thank you, Dom. Thank you very much. So we are live at St James's Park, and we're monitoring matters in the west of Germany, where Newcastle were beaten about a month ago, and both matches are still level 1-1. 15 minutes to play. Bruno Guimaraes with a shot tipped onto the bar. Fabian Schär's clearly left a bit of a mark on Davide Calabria as he tried to go around him. He's just caught him with his leg. See, Schär goes around the challenge.
He's caught him with his knee,
knee on knee, isn't it?
Yeah.
Calabria's okay, his impact, and is being led off by the Milan treatment team on the far side, but he's walking off, so he'll come back on. Bit more noise from the home fans. They're going through all the emotions, aren't they, Ando? You are as well, aren't you?
Well, it's going to be a long 15 minutes.
Well, that Paris Saint-Germain second goal being chalked off is a bonus for Newcastle. Lascelles now gets the free kick this time. Giroud adjudged to have fouled the skipper. It's been a good battle, that edge of the penalty area. Two big lads, and Newcastle free kick. Hey, one more goal does it for them in terms of the Champions League. Isak wins a throw on halfway. Burn to Bruno. It's the ball down on the floor. Isak gliding across the turf into midfield. Joelinton. Oh, brilliant from Joelinton. Now, Bruno might have been held. He's played in Livramento. Here's Callum Wilson. He's missed it. And Wilson's looked like he hurt his ankle. He stayed down in the box as Milan play it forwards. And they've got to watch the break here. Cher goes the other side of Luka Jovic, who will get yellow carded quite rightly for that cynical foul. Cher with a vital interception there because Milan could have been away.
Just sums the game up at the moment. And Newcastle are within a whisker of getting on the end of another great flowing move. Livramento, again, absolute quality down the right hand side, picked a good ball out, and 3 seconds later Shaw's making a tackle to stop them on the counter.
They've taken a free kick short to Longstaff. He's carried it to the right side of midfield and given it to Livramento, inside to Bruno, has a touch, whips in the cross, Byrne header goes up, goalkeeper's coming, punches, the goal is clear and Byrne couldn't send it forwards again. Livramento's got to watch here, the ball that's bouncing and dropping, and now Rafael Leao is in for AC Milan. Leao has hit the post! He's hit the outside of the post with Dubravka beaten, and Bruno keeps the ball in the corner. Such fine margins on which a Champions League and European dream rests.
Dear, oh dear.
You can count
it's jumpers and playgrounds, isn't it?
You can count on one hand the amount of mistakes that Livramento's made, but just didn't deal with a high ball there, and Leao tried to give the keeper the eyes, and have just been saved by the width of a post, and we're still in this game.
Bruno's won it back in midfield, and it comes along the halfway line to Isak. There might have been a foul on Bruno, but they play on. Dan Byrne to Joelinton. This is a charge up from the back from Theo Hernandez, and a overhit through ball straight to Dubravka.
Oh, it's a crazy game of football.
10 minutes to go.
You wouldn't like to predict which way this is going to go. It's unbelievable.
Livramento is now at right back, remember, after Trippier went off with what seemed to be a problem with his left thigh. Cher over to this near side to Livramento again. Great first touch that time. Infield and dropped off at the feet of Bruno. Short ball back to Lascelles and a swing from the skipper. What a pass that is. Quite rightly applauded. Isak in off the left flank. A burst from Isak. He's been absolutely hauled to the floor by Yunus Musa, who is yellow carded by referee Danny McAlee.
It's a crazy, crazy game.
It's a wrestling move.
Oh.
Never mind a rugby tackle.
Well, we've seen a few of them tonight.
I think this might be a distance that Shaw will fancy.
Put your foot through that one, son.
Well, referee is pacing it out and putting the wall just in front of the D, but slightly to the left edge of it. Cher and Longstaff are there. There's no Trippier on the pitch. Newcastle 1-1 with AC Milan. Longstaff to Livramento, takes a touch. The cross takes a nick off a Milan player, headed on by Cher, and Mike Maignan comes to catch and throws it out to the near side. 81 minutes exactly on the clock. They're slightly ahead of us in Germany. Foul by Sean Longstaff on the Newcastle right on Theo Hernandez. And it's 30 yards out, left wing for AC Milan.
Now that Dan Byrne's on, that might have been the reason Shaw didn't hit it there. We've got that extra little bit of height in the box. Proven goal scorer from set plays.
We don't score enough goals from set play, Steve, with the height that we've got in the side.
We're a big, powerful side, yeah. We work them really well.
Here's the Milan free kick. It's whipped low and comes across the box. Corner kick. was a black and white shirt that had the last touch. It's going to be a double change from the Italian side in a minute. It's a short corner taken quickly, and this is Reinders, and he's had an effort blocked by Isak, and now Isak and Almiron chase after the ball. It's a throw. Isak didn't try and do anything too quickly there, and they just take their time. The draw is enough for the Europa League. But a win as it stands would take them through. Bruno with an effort tipped onto the bar in the second half. Olivier Giroud has been replaced by Noah Okafor, the 23-year-old Swiss international, and Samuel Chukwueze replaces Yunus Musa. Newcastle back to Dubravka, onto Longstaff in a central position outside the area. This is Isak. Lots of movement. Dan Burn, an inviting ball for him in Milan's half. Back to Joelinton. Now Bruno. A couple of tackles in on Bruno, then he makes one himself to keep possession as Burn clips it into Joelinton in the area. Good turn by Joelinton. Back to Bruno, just outside the box. Longstaff can't get the shot away. Cleared. And Cher first to the ball. And Cher sees it open up to Isak, back through for Cher, volleyed clear. Well, that was exciting, and now this is worrying. This is a burst from Noah Okafor, the man just on. Luka Jovic, edge of the area. Now Okafor, and Chukwueze is into the net. AC Milan have turned it around, and Newcastle, as it stands, are heading out of Europe. The counter-attack from Milan, and the second goal from the substitute who's just come on, Samuel Chukwueze, left-footed, curling it beyond Dubravka. 84 minutes, Newcastle 1, AC Milan 2.
What a break. They just broke, they got numbers forward, and on this occasion they picked the right choice, made the right decision. It's a smash and finish.
They were in the lead at half-time. Milan have hit back with 2 goals. They have Newcastle 5 minutes plus added on time to save their European campaign. Could it be offside?
No.
No, that's what I was waiting on, just to see if he'd straight offside, in the hope that he'd straight offside. But no, it was a well-timed run. It was a really good finish. We've done what we were trying to do. We're trying to win the game. You leave yourself open sometimes when you're trying to win the game. I'm a little bit surprised that Shaw didn't pull the trigger when he had a chance to shoot on his right foot, trying to play the 1-2. But it was a clinical break from Milan.
It's not over yet, and if they can get this back, they can stay in Europe. Bruno behind the halfway line. To Cher. Milan have got everybody behind the ball. Newcastle have Wilson and Isak in the attack. Bruno to Joelinton. It's played against a pink shirt, and back it goes. Bruno to Lascelles. Inside to Bruno in the centre circle. Well, at some point everybody's had what they've needed tonight. Newcastle, Dortmund, Paris Saint-Germain and Milan. It's Milan who are making the noise because they're winning by 2-1. And Fabian Cher for Newcastle with 4 minutes on the clock plus additional time. Bruno back to Cher. They just can't find a way through. Up to Longstaff, can't head it on. Rafael Leao away. He hit the post not so long ago. Big chance that they didn't take. Livramento here with a touch back to Lascelles from halfway. Forwards to Longstaff. Controls it, turns, gives it to Livramento. Up to Wilson. Around the corner to Almiron. One back by Milan. Rafael Leao taking on Lascelles and cuts it here to Jovic. It's blocked. Well, that would have killed it. That would have ended it. And a massive block by Newcastle at the edge of the area. Bruno for Joelinton, left wing. how they need something now. Joelinton cuts inside, goes back outside, still going Joelinton, but good defending from Calabria.
Needed to go. Cross needed to go into the box.
Jovic with a foul on him by Bruno.
He's beaten them once, there's no need to go back and beat him again. Just put the ball in the box.
Rafael Leao going off, and Milan bringing on Davide Bartasaghi, wearing number 95, in the 88th minute. Milan lead 2-1. Newcastle are going out of all European football as it stands. And Milan will be heading for the Europa League with Paris Saint-Germain in second place. Still 1-1 in Germany. The counter-attack from AC Milan, devastating. But there's still time. Florenzi. Bartasaghi tackled by Livramento. Almiron to Lascelles. And through the legs of Bartasaghi, Almiron again has to turn in the right corner and run across his own penalty area, and he's got Newcastle away from a dangerous position. Joelinton back into Almiron. He's worked it nicely for Isak. Isak turns, gives it inside to Joelinton, just ahead of halfway. 90 seconds or so remaining, and then we'll get the numbers board here on BBC Radio Newcastle. They can do it. They can get the goal they need. Longstaff to Bruno to throw. 6 minutes have been added in Dortmund, where it's still 1-1. Livramento, good turn. Joelinton stretching, collects it, plays it to Bruno, takes it away from Bartasaghi, but carries it behind. A minute to play here, plus additional time.
We're going to have to go around Milan. Milan have set themselves up in the middle of the pitch now. We're going to have to move the ball really quickly across the pitch. As we did there, we got Bruno down the line. I thought he had half a chance to cross it there, but he decided to take another touch. But as we know, while there's 6 minutes to go, it only takes a second to score a goal. We're still in with a chance.
It's the voice of Steve Watson on BBC Radio Newcastle. John Anderson with us as usual as well. Milan with it in Newcastle's half. Oh, it's gone through the legs of Longstaff. And a chance for Bartasaghi to run. Scher plays it against the substitute. Byrne with a header, then Scher with a good header to Livramento. And Longstaff to Almiron. Flick from Almiron, taken down. Miguel Almiron, yellow card for Alessandro Florenzi.
Yeah, that was a real Italian tackle, wasn't it? He knew exactly what he was doing. 4 minutes added on.
Only 4 minutes. Only 4 minutes, and we're into the first of those right now. Newcastle losing by 2-1. It's got to come. Dubravka with a free kick to the edge of the area. It's come through for Scher. He heads it, but it goes away, and then Milan clear. There's nobody upfield for the Italians, and it's Dubravka who chases after the ball, and Bruno sends it forwards again towards Lascelles. The header away from Lascelles, then he's lifted it up around Bartasaghi and tried to play it to Livramento, pushed away. Livramento now is going to take a throw. Needs an option. Back to Dubravka.
It's got to go. It's just got to go. They've got everybody behind the ball.
Dubravka sends it long. Byrne is up there as a centre forward, helps it on, but through to the keeper. Mike Maignan takes it to the left side of the penalty box. Referee says hurry up. And it's not the best kick, it's straight at Almiron, but his first touch gives the ball back to Milan, who help it down the line. Lascelles chases it into the corner. His keeper is there. It's given to Dubravka, rolled out to Livramento. We're into the second minute of the minimum 4. Newcastle need a goal to stay in Europe. Here on BBC Radio Newcastle, Bruno with a switch for Joelinton. It's turned into a great ball, controlled by Joelinton on the thigh. edge of the area, on the outside, Dan Burn, turned over the top by Tomori.
What a terrific pass from Bruno, half volley cross field.
Dubravka's going up. Sorry, Steve.
Sorry, another great first touch from Joe Linton. All or nothing now.
What a story that would be. Livramento hangs back. We're into the third of 4 minutes. Milan have turned it around to lead 2-1. Newcastle need a goal. Will it come from this? The corner from Longstaff is long round the back. Joelinton sends it back into the centre, away by Milan. The Newcastle goal is unguarded. Livramento is hanging back, and Milan have gone for it. It's going to miss. It's going wide. That's all right. Goal kick.
That's awful. That is awful, isn't it? He's got a runner with him as well. Just play him in and he rolls it into an empty net.
Teo Hernandez from deep in the Newcastle half, left-footed, missed the target. Bruno, another good crossfield ball. Fabian Schär, left wing, into Joelinton, who turns. Livramento on the right. Oh, it's away from Livramento. Almiron's got to really stretch and strain every sinew to keep it in, and does. Then delivers the cross, which is stabbed clear. There's less than a minute to play. Lascelles on the halfway line. Burn is up there. Joelinton as well. Burn down under a challenge. Referee says no foul. And Milan have got a 3-on-2. AC Milan 3-on-2. Edge of the penalty area. Luka Jovic. Now the chance for Tomori. Hits the post. Tomori up from the back. Hits the post. 30 seconds, not even that to play. Newcastle think they've won a throw, but it's an AC Milan free kick, and that's probably going to be it.
And it's been an unbelievable game. Second half's been crazy, hasn't it, Steve? It's just been so open. It's been like something you see on a school playground, like jumpers in playgrounds. You go forward, we go forward.
It has. It's been unbelievably open.
A bit of argy-bargy on the far side now, with Schär and Burn around in some pushing and shoving that the referee's having to sort out and calm down. Some television cameramen think that the match is finished, and it might well have finished, because handshakes now between Eddie Howe and Stefano Pioli, and Newcastle United's European dream has ended. The adventure will not continue this season, at least, and it's over after AC Milan turn it around from a half-time deficit, with Joelinton putting Newcastle into the lead, and they were looking good, but an equaliser from Pulisic on the hour mark, and then a late winner on the counter-attack from Chukwueze, the substitute who just come on, mean that Milan go through, and they'll go into the Europa League, it looks like, because it's 1-1 between Dortmund and PSG in Germany. So Paris Saint-Germain, by the skin of their teeth, progress in the Champions League, with Borussia Dortmund as group winners, AC Milan third, and Newcastle United in what was objectively the most difficult group to get out of. Do not get out of the group, but they took it to the final moments of the final match after an incredible effort across 6 matches with a depleted squad and some nearly moments, and maybe they'll think back to how close they got in Paris and how close they got tonight. It was not beyond them to get through and even progress in the Champions League, but tonight they don't even make it into the Europa League because of the AC Milan turnaround, and a very quiet end to the game, John Anderson. There's a real sense of deflation, but when that goes, the pride at what they've seen with their team back at the top of European football, I'm sure will be stronger.
Yeah, look at it. It all looks so good after 45 minutes. You know, Milan had shown nothing at all as an offensive force in that opening 45 minutes. The second half was an unbelievable game. As soon as Milan equalised, it gave them that belief, gave them that extra half yard, gave them that vigour to go on. and believed that they could actually win the game. I mean, they've hit the woodwork twice, have they? 3 times, whatever it may be. We've hit it once, but it was, yeah, look, it was an incredible game. And I think it showed the last 20 minutes or so as well, that all of a sudden there was tired legs out there again. You know, the schedule that we've had, going with the same players and wondering, yes, he's made 1 or 2 substitutions, he's brought 1 or 2 senior players on, but still looked like there was tired legs towards the end of that game. Disappointing, of course it is, because it was there at half-time. You're 1-0 up. You know, even if it wasn't going to be Champions League, it was going to be Europa League, but unfortunately it wasn't to be.
And it was Europa League all the way until Milan went 2-1 up, because the draw was enough for that.
Yeah, it looked like the point was going to be enough, and then all of a sudden they broke. And it was a great break. It was a devastating break. You know, they got bodies forward. They made the right decision, and it's a great finish. But, yeah, disappointing.
Steve Watson, how would you sum it up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm bitterly disappointed for everybody involved because of the efforts that they put in under really difficult circumstances, and as Ando said, a really tough schedule there. You could see at the end that the zip on the pass wasn't the same. There was passes getting under hit in the middle of the pitch just because of probably fatigue. We got down the sides of Milan a lot tonight, but we just, for some reason, it was either the wrong choice of pass or we didn't get the connection. I think a real turning point was the save from their keeper, which, when you look at it again and you get a chance to see it, it was an absolute world-class save that's kept them in the game. I mean, he's made 5 saves tonight, and now I don't think our goalie's had a save to make, but we've conceded 2 goals. Now, I'm not saying we could do anything about the goals, but you know, we've done all we could, really. We threw everything at them, but we just didn't have the quality for that second goal on the night.
We're going to be here till 10:30 on BBC Radio Newcastle, and we'll continue to talk about the match, so stay with us. Send us a message at BBC Newcastle on X, formerly Twitter. 08000 321 333 is the WhatsApp number. Put BBC at the front of your message, and if you're texting, it's 81333. Start it with the letters BBC. Newcastle's players and Eddie Howe heading off the pitch after doing a lap of St James's Park, and applauded by the supporters, many of whom have stayed, and quite rightly. What an effort it's been all season, with so many challenges, new challenges, problems seemingly every week, with injuries and a depleted squad and reduced numbers. And they were, 10 minutes or so away, including added on time, of a place in at least the Europa League. But AC Milan turned it around after Joelinton had put Newcastle in front, and the winning goal from Milan knocks Newcastle out of Europe entirely. But they will be back, we can be sure of that, in the years to come. Simon Pride will be along in a minute here on BBC Radio Newcastle. They have been eliminated from all European competition, Newcastle, after losing 2-1 to AC Milan.
Total Sport North East.
Managerial sackings are more surprising than others.
Results haven't been great in the last few weeks. The reason for that wasn't to do with Tony Mowbray.
I don't think Tony Mowbray should have been sacked. Playing really with one hand tied behind his back. If we had a striker scoring, we'd be pushing for promotion.
Bewildered at what's happening down there, because we started off so well at the start of the season. We've just died off.
Great performance and a deserved victory again, Ando.
And the level at which they're playing at is just first class.
I've come to Paris to watch Newcastle play PSG.
We're obviously very proud of the performance.
Total Sport North East.
So the lap of honour is complete. The Newcastle United players and Eddie Howe and his coaching staff made their way all around the ground, because I think Eddie Howe recognises that the fans here are absolutely proud of their team's efforts, despite the fact that they fell short in the end on a dramatic night here at St James's Park. But Newcastle beaten by 2-1 by AC Milan, which, as Razor says, means that there will be no more European football this season for the Magpies. If you would like to put a comment to Steve Watson and John Anderson, they'll be staying with me for the next half hour or so, just to reflect not only on tonight tonight, but also on the Champions League campaign as a whole. You can send us a WhatsApp message on 08000 321 333, starting your message with the letters BBC. Text 81333, again beginning with those same 3 letters BBC. We'd love to hear some of your thoughts after tonight's action, which has left pretty much everybody breathless. In the end, as far as the other game was concerned, Borussia Dortmund against Paris Saint-Germain, well, that one had some twists and turns as well, including a goal disallowed by VAR. It finished Dortmund 1, Paris Saint-Germain 1 in the end. And BBC Radio Newcastle's Dom James was watching that one for us. And Dom, at half-time, when it was 0-0, you said there would be goals. You got goals in the second half, and it sounds like it was probably as breathless in Germany as it was here at St James's Park.
It was end-to-end. It was like a basketball match over in Dortmund, and it only took 7 minutes into the second half for Dortmund to get their goal. A high press from Dortmund. They won the ball in the box on the left-hand side. The ball was played by Fulkerg to Adeyemi on the penalty spot, who tucked it into the back of the net, but it only took 4 minutes for PSG to get their equaliser. Well worked bit of play down the left-hand side. It was pulled back to the edge of the box where Zaire Emery slammed it home with a powerful strike. Maybe a slight deflection just to take it into the goal. And then, on 71 minutes, Mbappe's left-footed effort strike from the edge of the box just whistled past the post at PSG on top, and then 5 minutes later, Mbappe's offside goal. It was so close, really close, but he was one-on-one. He tucked it into the bottom left-hand corner, and then VAR ruled it offside, and so it was back to 1-1. And then for the last 10 minutes, it was a really tired end to the game, quite scrappy. Both sides managing the final stages after knowing that Milan had taken the lead at St James's Park. But it all didn't really matter in the end, Pridey.
It didn't. Dom, thank you for keeping us up to date throughout. Yes, if Dortmund had managed to score at the end there, well, that would have put Milan above PSG. But as it is the German side, Dortmund and PSG, who go through. Milan will have a chance in the Europa League, and Newcastle United are out. Elsewhere, it finished Atletico Madrid 2, Lazio 0 in Group E. Celtic 2, Feyenoord 1. Celtic with an injury time winner there. Yankuba Minte, on loan from Newcastle, scored the goal for Feyenoord in that game. In Group G, Red Star Belgrade 2, Manchester City 3, and RB Leipzig 2, Young Boys 1. And in Group H, quite a game in Portugal. FC Porto 5, Shakhtar Donetsk 3, and plenty of goals in Belgium too. Royal Antwerp 3, Barcelona 2, an injury time winner for Antwerp in that game. In the Championship, Birmingham won 1-0 at Cardiff City. It finished Coventry 1, Southampton 1. Leicester City go back top. They beat Millwall by 3-2. Norwich 3, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Goalless between Queen's Park Rangers and Plymouth Argyle, who did go down to 10 men in the first half in that one. And it finished Middlesbrough 1, Hull City 2. Borough going ahead in that one, but Hull scoring twice in the second half. And Aldershot have beaten Stockport in an FA Cup second round replay. And in the Conte Cup, the Women's League Cup, there was a heavy defeat for Durham on the road at Aston Villa. They were beaten by 5-1. So, Steve Watson and John Anderson with me as the AC Milan substitutes do their warm down in front of us. And time to reflect a little bit more, I guess, not just on tonight, but the campaign generally. AC Milan, the winners tonight. I guess in terms of the whole group, the winners, as well as Dortmund, the TV companies, because this group brought us thrills and spills throughout, and Newcastle might have finished bottom of the group, Ando, but they have been competitive throughout and in each and every game, haven't they?
They have, without a shadow of a doubt. It was titled the Group of Death,
yes.
and so it proved. I mean, it all started so well. We went to Milan. Weathered the storm, they had the better of it, but we came away with a point. And then obviously the night against PSG here, when we blew them away after 2 games, you were thinking, whoa, everything's rosy in the garden. And then we had those 2 games against Dortmund, and we played well against Dortmund in both games, but they just had that little bit more nous. They had that little bit more experience on how to see those tight games through. And that's exactly what they did. And look, everybody's going to talk about the the game in Paris and that penalty.
There are plenty of messages coming in about that already.
Yeah, well, look, it is what it is. You know, they're decisions that you've got to live with. You know, we got ourselves in front tonight, and if anything, we showed a little bit of naivety again, you know, not being in this competition. You go 1-up. You defend a little bit better. You get people behind the ball, because you know in European competitions, with the quality that some of these sides have, that they can hurt you on the break. And we went looking for that second goal, and we threw bodies forward. We left ourselves a little bit open, especially second half. You know, second half was unbelievable how open it was.
Yes.
We could have scored.
I mean, obviously when it went 1-1, that was always going to be the case. Milan looking to win it, Newcastle knowing they had to score again in order to have a chance of getting through.
In the first half, they never looked like scoring. Milan. You know, they never had any of the ball. They never asked any questions of us. But when it got stretched, when the game got stretched, it really played into their hands, because they looked to break on us and they broke in numbers. And the second goal, I suppose, shows you that. You know, all of a sudden we're on the attack. They break. They've got a 4-on-3. They use it well, and the finish is sublime.
That kind of game.
But it was that type of game.
So much incident in the second half. I mean, Newcastle could have scored, made it 2-1, and it was an incredible save.
It was an unbelievable save. It was you know, it's a great strike. He's done everything right, and it's a real strong hand he's got to it to push it up onto the crossbar. But look, this has been a learning curve for us. You know, we haven't been here for such a long time. It's disappointing, of course it is, but there's an awful lot of pluses to take out of it.
Steve, you were talking at half-time about the need for a bit of balance in the second half, and you know, whether to go for that second goal, whether to be a little bit more cautious. Do you think maybe they got it slightly wrong, or can you really not really blame them for playing the way that they did and going for that second goal, perhaps?
I don't think they necessarily went for the second goal. I just thought there was all, you know, a side of Milan's quality with the players they've got and the options they've got off the bench. You know, forward options, internationals coming on, or international forwards coming on to replace players. You know, they were always going to be a threat, and there was always that. There was always that chance that if they got that 1 or 2 chances, they had the quality to finish it. And I just don't think we worked the ball into unbelievable areas. But as I say, I just thought the final pass, maybe the final decision, was just lacking a little bit on the night. Listen, I agree with that. We'd be very disappointed tonight, and it's only natural, because we're all very passionate. We're all die-hard Geordies, and we really wanted this adventure to continue. But you know, Europa Cup for me would have been a fantastic thing to be in as well, because I genuinely thought when we got players back and when we got stronger in January, that we'd have a really good chance of that. I mean, West Ham have won it, and you know, we've turned West Ham over. So, you know, very disappointing, but as you know, we're miles ahead of where we probably thought we would be.
To put it into context,
when Eddie Howe took over, we're miles ahead of where we thought we would be, and it's obvious.
Cleared.